after the two wonderful sessions. I'm also happy to inform that we have presence of WRC Chairman C.A. Ketan Sayya and WRC Secretary C.H. Inal Savla, both past presidents of our associations are present. Will we start 10 minutes? Before that, the sponsors for today's event, the lead sponsor, Everex Infotech Private Limited, they have certain applications, etc., which are very relevant to the professional services firm, and they are happy to showcase those. Can we have their presentation and a video of the sponsors and the products?
Efficiency is doing things right. Effectiveness is doing the right things. C.V.O Plus helps you do both with confidence. For any organization today, managing documents efficiently isn't just an option, it's a necessity. Introducing C.V.O Plus, your smart, secure and scalable document management solution. C.V.O Plus transforms how you store, access and manage critical business documents. With a user-friendly interface and powerful features, it helps you stay organized and compliant. Still buried under piles of paper? C.V.O Plus offers full-scale digitization of documents. Simply scan and save your documents in a structured, searchable format. Your data is your asset. C.V.O Plus ensures enterprise-grade security with controlled user-based access, encrypted email communication, and robust backup and restore options so your documents are always safe and recoverable. Admins can set access levels and permissions with ease, ensuring the right people see the right documents at the right time. Need to find a file quickly? C.V.O Plus offers lightning-fast retrieval with document profiling, so you're never more than a few clicks away from what you need. Edit and manage MS Office files directly within the system. No need to switch between platforms. Here are the top advantages of using C.V.O Plus. Centralized repository, user-based access control, document digitization, remote access anytime, anywhere, quick retrieval and search, enhanced data security. If you're a growing startup or an established enterprise, C.V.O Plus adapts to your needs, empowering your team with the tools to work smarter, faster, and more securely. C.V.O Plus, simplify, secure, succeed. Book your free demo today.
We thank Everex Infotech. They have a counter over there, so any member who is interested to know more about their products can connect to them or drop their cards, and they'll be happy to connect with you after the event. We also have other two sponsors, Taxman Publications. They are here with their stall and some of their products. For today, they have certain special discounts for the members who would like to purchase today. So you can go to the stall and check it. We also have a sponsor, Hemant Chheda, labor consultant. He's here and they have been advising a lot of clients on the labor related matters. So members are requested to speak to them and see how you can collaborate in these areas. We'll be starting the next session in about 2 minutes time.
Good afternoon everyone. We'll start with our third session. Request everyone to please take your seats. So the next topic, I think we've already started since morning about the next building the next gen CA. Building a future-ready firm, and Mr. Bhandari and Mr. Mayank have already, geared us up. We are literally in the third gear of our journey, and in this journey, we are going to be talking now, deep dive into the world of AI, agility and ambition. How not only change, but faster change is the new constant. So the role of chartered accountants is also evolving much faster than it used to before. So in this session, we will unravel how dynamic and visionary professionals are not only reimagining but reimaging the world of our profession. So get ready to explore what truly takes to stay relevant, to be resilient in this ever-dynamic world. May I invite the speaker, CA Jayesh Sangraka, and Mr. Amit Kothari, co-founder of INCOR, on the dais. Session Chairman, past President, CA Paras Savla, Secretary Umang Soni, our member CA Henrik Shah, to kindly join on the dais. May I please request the Chairman of the session, CA Paras Savla, to set the tone with his opening remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Since morning we have been listening that accounting profession is a turning point. Artificial intelligence, generative AI, and ongoing digital transformation are evolutions that will shape the future of the profession. Technology is moving very fast, and is the technology driving the practice, or practice is driving the technology? Who will dominate what? So these are the basic questions which all we may be facing, and how to transform our practice. We need to understand from the persons who have already transformed their practice and who have moved, who have left their old baggage and came with the new colors and the new way of doing it. In Western world, there are always one or other surveys are being taken by the for the professional organization, what is CP organizations. As Anil Bhandari said in the morning, that there are various firms in US which is having more than 1,000 members or 2,000, 3,000 people, and they keep on continuously running the surveys, what is driving their practice and what are the issues they are facing. And the issues what are faced by them are not new than what we are facing it. They are also facing with the technology. They also face the issues with the retaining the talent. And at the same time, but they have the focused way of how they will develop their practice, how they will run their practice. So, is this a profession or we are in the business? The earlier speaker told that they have already moved to corporatization. I believe if a proprietorship is there, one person works, it is a profession, and when there are multiple people, it's a business. You can't run the profession as a business and business as a profession. With this, we have two Jayesh Bhai and Amit Bhai to us who will share their story with us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure and honor to introduce our esteemed speaker for this Growth Summit, a visionary professional whose illustrious journey continues to inspire many in this consulting and corporate world. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jayesh Sangraka, the founder of Jayesh Sangraka & Co LLP, co-founder of INCORP India and designated partner at INCORP Restructuring Services LLP, a premier name in corporate finance and restructuring services. With over 37 years of distinguished experience, Jayesh sir has been at the forefront of corporate restructuring, insolvency, investment banking, private equity, and M&A advisory. As one of India's earliest registered insolvency professionals, he has successfully resolved debt claims exceeding 30,000 crore, protected the interest of over 25,000 home buyers, and helped raise more than 6,000 crore in funds through both debt and equity routes. His expertise has been sought by government agencies and leading corporates alike, and he has served as resolution professional in 8 successful CIRPs, bringing strategic clarity and integrity to every process. His impressive academic credentials, including being a chartered accountant, company secretary, law graduate, and insolvency professional. Jayesh sir is also a highly respected speaker at prestigious platforms including ICAI, IBBI, IICA and NARED.CO, and is also known for his clarity of thought, depth of knowledge and practical insights. We are truly privileged to have him with us today. May I now call all of you to join me in warmly welcoming Jay sir as he shares his insight on the topic Next Gen CA, Building a Future Ready Firm. Before we begin, I would like to invite CA Paras Savla and CA Umang Soni to kindly come forward and felicitate Jay sir with a token of our gratitude. We are also fortunate to have with us Mr. Amit Kotari, who is the founder at Incor. May I request CA Ketan Sayya, Chairman WIRC, and CA Chinal Savla, Secretary WIRC, to felicitate Amit sir with a token of our gratitude.
C.V.O, right? So some words I will talk in Gujarati also. I hope it is fine. Yes. So my introduction said that Jay Sangrajka and Company LLP, I was a founder, but I am no more a partner there as of now. I am only saying that because I was hearing our previous speaker that name is not important. That is a starting point which I would like to make. I have resigned as a partner from Jay Sangrajka and Company LLP 3 years back. And I have surrendered my COP also. That also I have done. Only reason is for corporatization of the organization. Before I start presentation, I thought that I would like to express my view why I have resigned as a partner also and and surrendered my COP. So topic given to me is building a future ready firm. But I think the topic should be building instead of firm it can be corporate structure. That is what is required because CA, we are now as a future CA, we have to do lot many other things. We have to be in lot many other areas which are not normally part of our services, traditional services. Today we have to change our mindset and get into various other things which is not relating to traditional services. What do you mean by inorganic growth in chartered accountant practice? So inorganic growth, as we know, it can be through merger or amalgamation of various firms and create a larger structure. So my journey started in 1985. I was a rank holder chartered accountant, and as a proprietary concern I started. And after 12 years, 13 years, it was converted into partnership or traditional practice. I was a rank holder, I was getting job opportunities, but however, I was more inclined towards my own practice, started in a small place in Dadar. And going to Ashish Industrial Estate, Jay Gopal Industrial Estate, and trying to get work, all type of work. That was the background. And after 12-13 years, the partnership was formed in year 1997. My point is here that I was you are all young generation, I was bit late in forming a partnership. Maybe I didn't get guidance. And I suggest that large partnership is the only solution. So initial start of your practice also, if you are even now one-man show or two-man show, please try to build large partnerships. That is the only way forward of growing in this industry or in this profession. If you want large clients, then partnership is the most important thing. So my first partnership happened in 1997. Thereafter, I became part of a network called Badgaj in year 2004. So this Badgaj network is recognized by ICAI, and it was formed with initial 5 firms from all over India. One was from Delhi, Jaipur, then Bangalore and Calcutta, and then we added another 5 firms. So that was the network which was formed, which was recognized by CA Institute, and we all Badgaj partners were meeting every 6 months, 1 year, every year in different cities and discussing the way forward. All these firms now have become quite large, and our association from 2004 to 2025 has become quite substantial. However, a network concept is a very very difficult format in my view, because it's a lose-lose association. All these firms are separate firms. They have all the different partners are there, different cultures are there, and all the firms are owned by different set of core partners who owns this firm. So my feeling that in spite of institute trying its best, the network concept has not picked up as much as it should have. So this, even after 20 years of my experience with Badgaj and my other partners' experience, it has not been that that great achievement looking at the growth what has happened in our industry. So my always, but it helped me a lot, because this all this 10 large firms, 10 firms grew over a period of last 20 years, like Amish Kandar of Ahmedabad, Guru and Jana of Bangalore, and Vikas Rajvanshi of Jaipur. All of these firms have grown. Individually they grew, but in a combined way we could not grow. That is the only my feeling, which it should have happened, that all of the firms, it would have been better, it would have been merged rather than acting independently. So that is why my first view on this. Then I am part of this Badgaj network, and we learn a lot of things, we meet people, and it has become like a family. But that doesn't work. What we needed was one single large firm or a corporate entity. So in year 2019, we formed a company called Incop Advisory Private Limited. So that Incop Advisory Private Limited is a private equity owned company. This is very important thing to know, that Incop Advisory Private Limited, Incop Global, was formed in Singapore. It was formed by some Indian startup guys and then some local Singaporean guys, and it was funded by, at that time, EQT. So Incop Global was formed in year 16-17. Incop India, they came to Incop India. They formed Incop India in 2019. So the philosophy of this particular Incop Global was to grow professional service practice by way of merging firms or acquiring firms, organic as well as inorganic. And it was funded by EQT, which is a large fund, and the investment was coming from EQT. The Incop Global, when they approached us in India, we 3 firms in India merged. Incop, my firm JS Sangrajka and Company, then Manish Modi and Company, where Amit Kothari is the partner, and PR Gandhi, that was the 3rd firm which merged. And after 2 years, another firm called Keshav and Vinaya, Bangalore-based firm merged. So their merger, and recently Amita Desai, company secretarial firm, has merged with us. We are also in process of further acquiring another 4 or 5 firms and merging those firms. Apart from that, so what is the process of when the private equity investment comes in a company? Like, it was a new for me also. When in year 2019, when private equity, Incop Global people came to us, Atin was the CEO over there. He came to us, explained us the concept, and then we discussed internally with Manish and PR Gandhi and other 1 or 2 more firms. Ultimately, these 3 firms agreed to the terms, and we formed this entity, Incop Advisory Private Limited. The process was that you value your firm. When a private equity fund comes, you have to value the firm. How do you value the firm? That is a very important critical aspect of it. And who will get what shares? Because internally also in my firm there were 2-3 core partners, and in other firms also there were 2-3 core partners. So total 7-8 core partners were there, who were to be given the maximum shares and basis the valuation. And there was also a question of how do you value the goodwill and how much shareholding should be there of yours in this particular company. I am sharing all the details because I would like to be transparent and explain to you the whole structure. So that is the way see, all CA firms, the major issue is that we have cash income, we have other income also. Nowadays that is cash income has reduced, but then valuing a firm with cash income, and some income is fixed income, some is variable income. How do you do that? That is very critical. So we found the Incorp Global team appointed EY to do our due diligence, and valuation there was some basis which we were all, as a chartered accountant, we also understand how to value. But then some formula was worked out, basis that valuation of all the 3 firms was done. And accordingly the shares were allotted to the different co-founders. So initially 7-8 co-founders got shares in the company. After 2 years, Keshav and Vinay and Keshava also merged, same philosophy. The firm was valued and they also got the shares. And apart from getting the shares, we got upfront money also. And that is the way the structure was formed. There is a concept, in any M&A concept, there is a shareholder agreement or there is a co-founder agreement. All those type of agreements were made by leading chartered accountants. So this is what is the background of Incorp and my journey so far. Now, so after Incorp, what is the benefit of getting into a large organization? Like Incorp Global today has expanded all over the world, and in Australia they have presence, in Indonesia, in Vietnam, in Singapore it's a leading practice, having leading practice, and they have acquired recently payroll service company in Hong Kong, and all these things are happening at Incorp Global level. At Incorp India level, they have given us a mandate that they can invest $100 million in India, subject to you be getting some large firms. But the problem in Indian scenario is this, that all the CA firms are basically 2 partner, 1 partner, and the turnover of more than 5-10 crore or even more than 10 crore is very less. Very few firms are having turnover of more than 10 crores. Private equity funds do not look at such type of small firms unless there is some niche area where there is some expertise. So any firm here, with all respect I am asking, don't take it otherwise, any firm here having more than 10 crore turnover? So 1 firm is there, that's great. So what I am trying to say is this, that it is not demeaning ourselves, we are all, in our own way we are all successful. All of you are happy, but you want to grow, right? Everybody wants to grow, that is the reason you are here. How can you grow? Please tell me, how can you grow? It's very simple. If you think like Karyana guys, then you will become a Karyana Dukan only. If you think like DMart, you will become DMart. If you think like Amazon, you will become like Amazon. That how do you grow is how do you come together. And that is the only way. If all of you together, maybe having turnover of more than 100 crores, I'm just guessing. So if that 100 crore becomes 1 platform, what will happen? All of we are CV. So what I am trying to say is, what is our organization strength? 4,000?
2,200 plus. 2,200 plus.
3,200 plus. Even if 50 of you come together and form a large firm, what will happen? Just think through. And that is the only way we can all, and when our Prime Minister talks about large firms, you are able to listen?
Yes, just.
So when we are talking of Prime Minister, our Prime Minister says as a vision that there should be a large Indian firm. How is it going to be possible? What is the turnover of Big Four? Do you have any idea? Any idea what is a turnover of EY in India? Forget global turnover. Any idea? 20,000 crores. Deloitte also around 15,000 crores. KPMG, PwC 15-20,000. They are employing thousands of chartered accountants, thousands of engineers, thousands of many other type of professionals. Like GCC they form, their size of GCC will be more than 5,000, 10,000 global fulfillment centers. Worldwide their turnover is more than 65, 70 billion dollars. Can we imagine, can we compete with them? Unless we think differently. So that is what the vision for INCOP was, that we came together. Only reason was that we come together and grew a large firm. Once the INCOP was formed, nowadays we talk of AI, MI and everything, right? So INCOP India acquired one company called wakilsearch.com. Now it is rebranded as Solvit. We took 46% in it. See, as an individual guy, I would have never done all this. I was doing very well. It's not that when I merged my practice in year 2019, my turnover was also good. I was taking very good amount of money home also, and I was happy. At that time I was 55, 56 and now I am 61, 62. So that, but the planning was that to make a large organization. Before I merged with INCOP, I had also tried merger with some small firms. My Navi Mumbai office, I acquired one small firm in year 2000 by paying 4,20,000 as goodwill. And that is the way my Navi Mumbai office started. But I tried my best to merge with other firms, but there was always a challenge. But because of INCOP, now all this has been possible. So when we acquired wakilsearch.com, wakilsearch.com is a compliance service platform in tech. 46% we are holding as INCOP India, and it has been founded by a lawyer family. And today it is doing compliance of more than, not compliance, formation of companies, LLP, more than 10% is being done by Wakil Search in India. Trademark registration also it does, more than 25-30% share is of Wakil Search. So this would have not have been possible for us individually. This has been possible only because of this structure of INCOP and private equity investment, which has happened in INCOP Global and INCOP India. After 3-4 years, when EQT invested in 2017, they exceeded. This is a normal thing in PE industry, private equity industry. This is normal thing that after 3-4 years, EQT exited and TA Associate took over. That was also a large, very large private equity fund. And when we talk about very large private equity fund, their asset management is more than 25 billion dollars, maybe $100 billion. Hill House is having $100 billion. After 2 years further down the line, TA Associated transferred it to Hill House. So now our ownership is with Hill House. So that is the structure, that is the way private equity funds are investing in professional service firms. Now what happened to INCOP after this investment is we got into this Wakil Search. Then our organization structure itself changed a lot. We have now a CEO structure. Normally CA firms don't have CEO structure, right? We don't have CFO, we don't have HR. Do anybody have that? We on our own only manage everything. So this whole concept comes when you are together. And there is always a corporate governance, monthly meetings of partners, targets for each and every individuals, and even recruitment becomes easier. CFO we have in-house. So all this sort of things happen when you grow in with merger of large firms supported by private equity. So that is where the benefit of private equity is there. So after INCOP we have expanded in GIFT City. We have a GIFT City office. We have a CFO service. We are doing one contract of more than 7 crores for one client providing CFO service. Then we have EOB service, that is virtual place of business service. where we serve on all online retailers to get registered with GST department and income tax and all that stuff. And investment banking has become a very large part of our service. The benefit what I got individually is that I started focusing on new area of business. I started practicing in restructuring practice, that is insolvency practice. Because now I was not going to look after income tax, GST, audit. Other partners were there already, but I could focus on what I liked, and that was in business restructuring practice of that, and that in year 2017-18 I cleared that exam, and today, as has been mentioned, I have resolved more than 30,000 crore of debt in India in real estate, and in major real estate projects I am the resolution professional. So all this has been possible only because of large structure like INCOR. If I was individual, I would not have got so many clients also, and so many, and I could not have focused on such type of practice. So that is the advantage what I would like to highlight. So now coming back to, that was my story. Now what is the general trend in this, in our CA professional service industry? So how can inorganic growth means what? I had asked you first. So acquisition and merger of CA firms. Have you ever experienced any merger between any of your firms? Any of you have that experience? You have that experience. So 1 or 2 firms have merged. 3 firms. That's great. So you had your challenges, but you could overcome it, right? And has it helped you?
Yes.
Then what is the other inorganic way of growing is forming strategic alliance or networks. I was talking about Badgaj, which is our CA Institute has made rules easier, but this format of network now, according to just meeting people without a formal structure, I don't think it works. Have you seen any network being successful? Local Indian network being successful? People always say Badgaj has been successful. You can ask our committee members also. They would say Badgaj is successful. One of our Badgaj member is Ravi Patwa, who is a member of Central Council. The problem and challenge is that our regulations are good, but they are not, to form a network and to grow a business is not easy under that regulation. I'm not criticizing anything, but it is a big challenge to grow a network and to grow, because there are so many restrictions in that concept by our CA regulations, that it is very difficult to make an effective network. Then private equity partnership, that is one of the way of inorganic growth. There has been very large investments which have come in this field in last 4 or 5 years. We will discuss it later on. So this is where the growth is coming from. So we can, geographically, we can have offices in various cities. Individual firms, we may say we are having office in Jaipur or Delhi or etc. Any of you having an outstation office? Okay. So that is the other way people grow inorganically. So what is the trend in organic growth? Service line specialization, all of you might be expert in income tax, GST, audit. Some areas you will be expert, right? And some of you might be doing altogether everything, like I did in my initial years. सब लोग अपना બધા પોતાની ફિલ્ડમાં એક સબ્જેક્ટ લઈને બેસા હશે ને, અને 2 પાર્ટનર હશે તો one might be looking at income tax, one might be looking at GST, something like that. That is a normal structure for all of us. But is it going to work now? Let us all think on that. More than 90% of new CAs are joining corporates. Are they joining profession, I think now even only 5% might be joining the profession. Even new CAs, they don't join father's practice. That is what I am hearing. Am I right? Yes. So that is, why it is happening, we also need to change. So organic adoption of technology and automation. So I have seen few firms, they specialize, they are smart people, young people. They, like in GST, there are few firms who have adopted technology in a great way and they have grown. But even with 2, 3, 4 partners, there is a limitation. Then client-centric customization, so you may get some, see, basically we should go out of the compliance service mode. What we all were doing, or I was doing before this new avatar, was compliance service related. All of you are focusing on what? Compliance services. And the value will go on decreasing. It will go on decreasing every day, unless we change. Expansion in Tier 2, Tier 3, but first you grow in Mumbai, then you can grow in other cities. Branding and digital, now everybody is on LinkedIn, everybody can easily post on LinkedIn, it's very, very easy. But if all of us start being on LinkedIn, what will be the what benefit will get out of that? Unless we have that skill. So what I believe is that what we need is capital to grow. Any business needs capital. Without capital, you cannot grow. So that is and how are you going to bring the capital? Here in CA business, the entry is very easy. Entry not in exam terms, we all know that. But to start a practice is very easy. You may start from a small garage or a small table space also. But how do you expand is critical. So for that, capital is required. So what is the investment trend in our CA professional services? Now, when I talk about CA professional services, don't take it only as income tax or GST or audit or not. These are all, practices are good, but you have to be focusing on many other things. So India, lot of private equity people have shown interest in investing in Indian firms. So these are seen in management consulting, tax compliances. Like example, recently Dhruva has got an investment of 200 crores. See, what Mayank Lakhani, he is from ex-Deloitte. I was reading about him, I just used technology, I was not knowing him. Honestly, I met him first time. So I asked ChatGPT, who is Mayank Lakhani? So he is 2007 batch. Up to 2007 he was in Deloitte. He joined this next jump in 2007. 2010 that company became a corporate structure, and after 2010 we are in 2015 and there are 1,800 people. Can we imagine the growth they have seen? That is amazing, and that's what we all have to think. What is the difference between them and us? And that is the reason you guys called him, right? So same thing all globally, in world over, in Europe or any country or in US, lot of consolidation is happening in professional service firms. Many firms are getting merged, amalgamated, and private equity money is coming into this field. Like in Singapore, what Incop Global we are seeing, same thing is happening in many countries. All large private equity investment are looking at this space. And why they are looking also, there are reasons. People don't put their money, throw their money into professional service firms. Only there are reasons behind that. That also we'll discuss. So Dhruva Advisor, this is what data I have got, and maybe this is what investment of rupees 200 crores by Dinesh Bhai is also a good friend of mine, and by Due North, focus area, tax regulatory. See, when Dinesh Bhai formed Dhruva, and now it's a good name, it had also its challenges, but it has now become a substantially large advisory firm. One more example is of Jamil Khatri. We had met in year 2022 when he was about to start this firm, EQ, what is the name. And Jamil Khatri also has done great by getting private equity funding in his ESG practice. So RSM India also Global Alliance partnered with RSM International, Video India. So these are all stories are there, but how do we replicate this? That is critical. We have to learn from them. Even Big Four, the way they are structured, we can learn lot from them. It is all people management. They are also managing thousands of people. What is their corporate structure? What is their managed governance structure? We have to learn from them and grow. So Incorp Global, the story I have already told. Grant Thornton also, so it was family owned in a way, and now 2 years back there is some private equity investment which has come in Grant Thornton also. So why this is happening? In last 5-6 years, this all changes are happening. KNAV also, you know what has happened. So that also recently it has happened, right? We were lucky that 6-7 years back we could form Incorp. So this is the thing which is happening in our profession. The reason why private equity is coming here. So brings growth capital. So they have got huge capital to invest, and they will not get into small things. They have invested more than 150 crores in Incorp India. Globally, I don't know. It's still much more, and they can invest up to $1 billion into service sector. For India, they have allocated 100 million. आप लोग सब लोग हमारे से merge हो जाओ. It will be a reasonable structure will be. I'm just saying. We are looking for large firms. That's so private equity will enable. Why private equity? You can read here why private equity people are investing here. Technology we talk. It requires huge investment. बड़ा काम करना है तो पैसा चाहिए, जगह चाहिए, ऑफिस चाहिए. If you require a 5,000, 10,000 square feet office, how much cost will be there? As individual partner, we don't get into all of this because capacity is limited. But अगर आपका thought है ना, अगर idea है, तो money is available, and this is good thing which is happening. If you have good idea, there are people who will back you. Like everything startup. We are all startup only in a way. When we start our practice, we are a startup. So how do you grow that? It is going to happen with money. अगर खाली सर्विस देते जाएंगे, पैसा इन्वेस्ट नहीं करेंगे, पैसा खाली कमाने का सोचेंगे, वहाँ बिजनेस में री इन्वेस्ट नहीं करेंगे, then what is going to happen? When Manish Bhai was saying that the money is being invested back in the company, and they get more return than market. वो natural है, it is natural. अपना पैसा अपने ही बिजनेस में डालोगे. Forget our CA business. Other business also, if we invest our own money and we don't invest outside, we are going to earn more. Whether it's any type of business. So, reasons why they are investing. We have first-hand experience of all of this. What do we look in a CA firm? But they look that minimum EBITDA should be more than 20%. अपना तो 50% 60% होता है, but our amounts are small. They look at large firms with small EBITDA with 20 plus things. अगर आप 10 पार्टनर हो जाओगे तो EBITDA कम होने ही वाला है ना. Recurring revenue, now this is very critical. See, they invest, most of us, I believe, will have 50%, 60% as fixed income. 30-40% will be variable. कुछ ना कुछ नया client ढूंढो, कुछ नया activity करो, नया कुछ करो, नया, मतलब that's the way that 30-40% comes. They are more interested in fixed revenue because that shows that their whatever money they are investing, there will be some return at a future. खाली variable पे ये depend नहीं हो सकता. Client concentration risk is, so your one client giving you 50%, 60% is not over there. So your platform should be scalable. Succession planning and sector focus. Anybody here above 50 years of age? Succession planning किया है sir? We are from the same college. You are younger to me by one batch. So my planning at age of 55 was that. Ultimately, the idea was that getting to a corporate structure. I tried my best on my own, with my partners and everybody. But I was feeling that somewhere I will have to plan. So at age of 55, I planned. Now I am 61, standing in front of you. These are huge investments, and these are, you can't imagine the amount of money being invested in these firms. बहुत बड़े-बड़े transactions हो रहे हैं, European market, US market, everywhere. You can share my slide with everybody, no issue. So this is what is happening. Can you see the size of what is happening worldwide? Europe में देखो, US में देखो, everywhere this is happening. Global firm and Indian CA firm, Big Four और अपना क्या difference है? Same is happening in every other industry. Forget CA industry, legal fraternity, architect or any business. Same problem. Promoter-driven organization and professional organization. There is a difference. Big Four are professional-driven. We are like family-owned businesses. Family-owned business का growth कम ही होगा. Forget Adani and Ambani, but there also huge investment has come in. Largest Indian CA firms, what is the size? What will be the size of practice? And I told you about EY 20,000 crores. कितना होगा? 100 करोड़, 150 करोड़ होगा. So the various, what are the differentiators between both? We have to think like global firms if we really want to grow. How many of you are attending BCA's power summits? You are attending, quite a few, right? I have been attending for the last 5-6 years. How many firms, honestly, after going to that forum or any forum, for example, my only concern is that after hearing, we should be applying those concepts also. We just, then next summit, we'll attend another conference and the same thing we will discuss. It should not happen that way. Please think hard how you can make your firm. First step में at least 1 or 2, 3 partners say at least become 10 partners. And audit पे some what Paras Bhai or somebody was telling, 60 firms, more than 20 partners and all that. Those are all for what? CAG audit and empanelment and all that. That is not going to work. Fees मिल मिलता है, 25 लाख 50 लाख क्या मिलने वाला है, एक ऑडिट भी मिल गया तो स्टैट्यूटरी बैंक ऑडिटर के हिसाब से. We are also doing, my firm is also doing. But how much we get out of the audit? Forget audit practice. I am talking of this type of audit, large audit practice. Even tomorrow if you get large audit, how many of us are capable of doing audit of L&T? Suppose चलो उसने L&T ने सोचा कि मैं इंडियन फर्म को देता हूँ. How many of us are capable of handling L&T audit or any large organization audit? Because we don't have scale. This is the global trend in audit tax consulting. Large GCCs are being formed. GCC का मतलब back offices. I have been to Ahmedabad recently, last 1 month 3 times. I am seeing a lot of large BPOs or large outsourcing firms. I met quite a few of them, and it is really interesting. They are having 500, 600 people team, just doing outsourcing work for US, UK or some other countries. Think something out of the way. Our CA, there is a shortage of accountants worldwide. India is having a lot of accountants. How do you make a formal structure and corporate structure? That is what you guys have to think. That can be also a good starting point. Income tax, GST, ये वो सब तो online compliance होते रहेगा. That is not a great thing. India, we know our economy is $3.7 billion as on today. It is going to become $5-6 billion, and by Viksit Bharat 2047 will be $35 billion. Now that all, and if we as a CA firm don't grow, we will not be able to take advantage. वो Big Four का turnover आज 20,000 करोड़ है, वो 50,000 करोड़ हो जाएगा. I am not against Big Four. I want that we Indian firms should grow. Like INCOP, see INCOP is funded at Singapore level. We have some other ideas for INCOP India also that we are discussing internally. How do we make INCOP India as a global entity also? We have some plans. What are the reasons I have mentioned here? All of you can read this, no?
Yes.
When I talk to some government officers or government officials, they feel that government department, when I ask them why do you give work to Indian CA firms, they say that where is the size? And there are some people like Ramesh Prabhu and other people who are trying that large firm ke liye, there are, a lot of conferences are happening. I hope that has an impact, and even government is trying to support. Through CA Institute, I had gone to China and Hong Kong a few years back, around 15-20 years back. In China, they have a rule that they don't give Big Four any audit. And the firm size is 1,500, 2,000 partners, that sort of firm size. We don't want that. That will be, even government, overseas government will not allow that. Like in legal fraternity, there is no mutual arrangement. But in CA Institute or at a CA level, government level, they just can't say that give all audit to Indian firms. But in China, it can happen. So they have large firms. So idea is that think like an entrepreneur. बिजनेसमैन के हिसाब से सोचोगे तो बिजनेस प्रैक्टिस ग्रो होएगा. All of us advise businessmen. Client तो अपना खुश हो जाता है. We go there, have a cup of tea, advise him free of cost lot of things. He takes our advice. His business grows. Our business grows marginally. So think like you are a businessman and how you are going to grow your business. और कुछ है इसके ऊपर? Any view on this? The need for tech adoption we all know. Inorganic routes to meet client, but I'm not going deep into this because all of us are comparatively small. But first reach a level, and then all of this has to come, and it will come automatically. अच्छे यंग पार्टनर को लो, पार्टनरशिप बनाओ. डोंट थिंक ऑफ दैट परसेंटेज. इसको मैं क्या दूंगा, 5%, 10% डिफरेंस नहीं. इट डजंट मैटर. द वैल्यू एडिशन व्हाट अ न्यू पार्टनर ब्रिंग्स will be much higher than that 5-10% difference. And trust. And plus, and whenever you grow, there will be, whenever some private guys invest, there will be proper due diligence. So all in any way cash transaction and other things are reducing. So valuation plays an important role. If for growth money and valuation, our accounting, our own internal accounting should be all as far as possible above board. And so that will help us in our future fundraise program also. We have planned many things that are mentioned here. So like now I request Amit to share some of his thoughts. Amit is a co-founder of Innovate.
Good afternoon. I hope I'm audible. After 2018, I am speaking for the first time on a public forum. As Jayesh Bhai said, I started my journey as an article under Jayesh Bhai himself. I was an article clerk under him. Completed my CA in 2000. And 2001, we started teaching. We are running a coaching class called Pinnacle Education. And we said life comes a full circle. We were running Pinnacle Education here in this school for almost 3.5 years. We stopped teaching in 2018 because we had got this opportunity at InCorp. So we were at that crossroads whether we develop our practice or whether we develop our coaching classes. And considering the effort-reward ratio that was coming in, we decided to go the InCorp way, kind of a thing. So between 2001 to 2018, we have been instrumental in teaching a lot of CA students, typically who are pursuing chartered accountancy between those years and are in central Mumbai, Dadar, Sayan, Matunga, Vadala kinds. That's what has been my journey. 2019, as Jayesh Bhai said, there were 3 firms which merged and InCorp came into being. So which was my firm where I was a co-founder called Manish Modi and Associates, Jayesh Bhai's firm, Jayesh Sangrajka and Company, and PR Gandhi, which was, but when this amalgamation happened, it was basically, we were with a lot of complementary skill sets, okay. So my firm was very good at investment banking, advisory. Jayesh Bhai's firm was very good at a lot of compliance, GST work, compliance, income tax, etc. And PR Gandhi was a specialist in FEMA, international tax, FPI accounting, fund accounting, etc. and all that stuff. So when we 3 came together and formed InCorp, that was basically with a lot of complementary skill sets, kind of a thing. So that was one very important factor why we 3 firms came together, kind of a thing. Then happened Bangalore, which was another CA firm called VKC, as Jayesh Bhai said. That was again a geographical expansion. We needed something at Bangalore. And coincidentally, VKCA was also part of Bajaj network only. So that's how they were identified and they decided to join hands with us. InCorp was a great decision in every one of our lives, in everybody's lives, in our team. Because to just give you a perspective, when we 3 merged, whatever was our turnover are our profits today, kind of a thing. And we started, we were about 150 people. Today, we are 150 chartered accountants in InCorp, and we are about close to 600 people. So that's the size that happens. In short, 1 + 1 was never 2. 1 plus 1 is definitely 4, 5, 6, or even it can be 11, for that matter. So coming together, identifying the right partners and then growing is very important. And as Jayesh said, capital is not a problem. Capital is available. Only thing is you need to have a very sound business. That slide which Jayesh showed, which had all those metrics of that recurring revenue and EBITDA and the niche areas, etc., and all that stuff is very, very important. One very important factor is that attracting talent. Okay, so attracting, first of all, people who are doing CA itself has come down drastically. And after that, they joining a smaller firm, a mid-sized firm is a challenge because we can't pay what a Big Four pays, we cannot pay what, suppose, an industry pays, kind of a thing. Even for attracting talent, you need to show them size, you need to show them scale, they have to be clear about what is going to be their growth with you, kind of a thing. So for that also, it becomes very, very important that you need to have a sizable amount of business. Coming to InCorp, what we believe that we are here to create a platform. We want to create a business services platform, not necessarily a CA services firm. And that's the reason, recently we acquired a company secretary firm called Amita Desai. She's a reputed company secretary, doing a lot of work for SEBI, a lot of work for listed companies, FEMA, RBI, etc. So at InCorp, we are creating a business services platform where we may acquire any kind of services which typically a company requires in the areas of compliance, kind of a thing. So obviously any CA firm will do income tax, will do GST, okay, but we are also going one step further. We are doing a secretarial firm. We are open for even acquisition of law firms if that's permitted under the lawyers code of conduct, etc., and all that stuff. We are open for acquisition of outsourcing firms. All is everything related to services, kind of a thing. Also, at InCorp, we added a lot of different services which we were not doing earlier. Like classic case was insolvency bankruptcy. Obviously, that law came in at that point of time. But since Jayesh Bhai took up that particular pattern of the restructuring practice, what we call as IBC practice or a restructuring practice, we had phenomenal growth over there. We started another very niche area of practice which was in ESG reporting, which is environmental social governance. For all large companies, today it is mandated to get audit done, but for those companies who are also PE funded, so their PE firms will want them to undergo this ESG audits or ESG checks or get a ESG rating, etc., and all that stuff. Very, very niche play. Big Four charges a bomb to do this, so obviously the mid-sized companies are looking at a more valuable proposition. So we have developed a ESG solution also, which we were not doing earlier, kind of a thing. Virtual CFO services. So today, a lot of these PE-owned businesses are just looking to outsource the entire finance function. They know how to do business. They are not looking at doing day-to-day accounting. They are not here to do day-to-day compliances. They just want to outsource it. So a lot of PE firms where they have invested businesses, they are outsourcing a lot of stuff. So that is another vertical, what we call as virtual CFO, that we added into this particular the entire service spectrum. Yes, we are trying to create a CAT2 AIF platform where InCorp would be an advisor to that particular platform, which predominantly would be investing in real estate, in stressed assets, etc., and all that stuff, because Jayesh Bhai has that domain experience and expertise to do that kind of a thing. Yeah, we have a lot of pressure to deploy that $100 million which is reserved for India. So obviously we are always scouting for a lot of business opportunities. And as we said, it's the corporate services firm. It's not essentially a CA firm. InCorp today globally has presence in 9 geographies. When we started, they were present only in 4 geographies. We were the 4th one. So they were Singapore, Hong Kong, Indonesia, and India. Now today they've added 5 more jurisdictions. So they have presence in Vietnam, Malaysia, China, Australia, and UAE. Also, they have acquired a lot of businesses and merged into the local businesses. Like they acquired the practice of BDO Hong Kong and merged into InCorp Hong Kong. So they keep on doing all that stuff. They recently acquired an HR payroll processing firm, and merged that into Malaysia business. UAE is a corporate secretarial firm where a lot of business is done by them, so they have acquired that particular business. They have also acquired another business which they call it as trust and fiduciary business, which is into all this developing or setting up your businesses or the ownership of your businesses in trust in offshore jurisdictions, like Cayman or Cyprus or similar kind of thing, all the tax havens. So that business in India is not looked with a lot of credibility. We always have a money laundering angle attached to it, but globally it is considered to be a very, very fine, proper business. So Incorp Global has also acquired a business called Harneys, which is having specialization in that. So what happens is with all of these things, we get a lot of opportunities to cross-sell a lot of business, give a lot of solutions to our clients, a lot of mid-sized clients, a lot of large clients who are in that growth part from growing from small to mid or mid to large. They are looking at such solutions which we are able to offer because of them. So yes, so just expand your horizons, and I think sky is the limit for our business. And that's it. Thank you.
So, how Incorp structure has helped us? Now we have a proper valuation of our company. सबको अपना valuation है. CA firms, what value will be there? But since this being a private limited entity, and private equity funded, our valuation is about 350 crores. This is just for, on paper we are very happy. When it will be realized, we don't know. And our target is it will become 1,000 crore after 3 years. We are talking of Incorp.
I have two questions. So one is regarding when we are doing maybe any inorganic growth or trying to acquire some or getting acquired ourselves. So how generally the valuation is being done at this small and medium practitioner level?
Maybe Amit can answer it in investment banking, but briefly it all depends on your. Briefly it depends on what. Actually, आप profit कितना कर रहे हो? EBITDA means before your remuneration, before your interest cost and all that. Interest cost is not there normally.
So what is the multiple level generally they use?
Everybody asks us this first question. Whenever we start talking, we will not talk about the figures, numbers, variable kitna hai, fixed kitna hai. See, all valuation all it depends on what is your variable income, what is your fixed income, and then what are you taking home. See, even after merger or any, if you are going to take a share in the company, then also you will take some remuneration. So we have to do a adjusted EBITDA calculation also. On that, multiple of around 6 to 8% can be there. That is what is a normal 6 to 8 times can be there. So if you are earning, say, after your all expenses and before your remuneration 1 crore, then your valuation should be around roughly between 6 crores and 8 crores. Now it can become more than 8 times also, depending on what growth potential is there. खाली आप routine practice करते होगे तो उसमें क्या growth potential होगा? Every year to get a 5-10% growth is also. So if there is some special area, then it's a different story. Like Amita Desai's practice valuation was totally different because her practice commanded a premium, and we needed that. That is the way it goes. So if anybody is having some specialized area, like we are looking at some firm which is into anti-money laundering services, so the valuation will be different. It's a small firm, 5-6, but it has got a different area of service where we would be interested. Like ESG practice, we are already there we have achieved a great number, more than 5 crores of revenue. But ESG service or some other area where we are not there, then the valuation can be much higher. That is what is our view.
And one more add-on question. When we say that PEs are investing in, so what we have seen in other businesses, there is always a top line pressure. So what kind of top line pressures are there in this particular industry when they are investing?
Sir, अभी top line pressure तो होना ही चाहिए. See, without top line pressure, nobody will grow. Nobody will grow. And you have heard Mr. Anil, Mr. Manish, and so everybody, we also have our own targets. If I don't perform today, I will, there is a target for me also. Target and performance 100% it will be there, and we should take that challenge. Once you are a large firm now, a large organization, the target becomes easier to achieve. Let Amit add.
So it's usually there are growth targets. Okay, so to just give you a little bit more perspective, we usually have two parameters: growth, which is organic growth, which would be somewhere in the range of 15 to 20% depending upon the service. So income tax will have, say, a lesser number. Investment banking could have a higher number, but usually organic growth of about roughly average 20% is given. You have to grow that much, and obviously even inorganic growth targets are also there. How much EBITDA you can buy from outside, so basically by acquisition of outside. So it's a mix of both.
And when private equity investment is there, that is lot of MIS, lot of reporting there. आपके ऊपर boss है. I was a founder, I was my own owner, but I like this structure more than my previous avatar. Thank you.
Any more questions? We have time.
Seems everyone is waiting for lunch to be served. So since morning we had the 3 sessions, and like all the 3 sessions, one trend came that we need to embrace the technology. Then shift is required from the routine practice to the consultancy or advisory practice. Jayesh also said that just coming together numbers, which will be, there is no use just to get the CNAG audit or reserve sector audits. Rather than it's the much pie is much larger when you move out of this thing. And third thing is that we need to invest in our business. The simple thing that you may go home and check what is the capital in your firm. This will give you the answer whether you are investing in your thing or investing in the business of Ambani's and Adani's. With this, we close this session. May I request Nisha to give the offer vote of thanks.
Thank you, Parasbhai. Our previous speaker said, that one of the challenges we face is the reluctance to share revenue. Here, Jayesh Bhai has transparently shared, his journey, which is really commendable, and the simplicity of his attire was also depicted in the simplicity of, the presentation that he made. Very thought-provoking, powerful, food for thought actually. His pauses actually, during his presentations were hard-hitting questions which all of us really need to, go back and think. And one of the takeaways that, I have for myself is that after hearing apply, it actually, had goosebumps. So, the hunger for growth has increased after, this session. And I'm sure that applies to all of us. So the food is served. It is for us to take the right steps in the right direction. And it's an excellent conversation starter just before, we break for lunch. So thank you very much, Jayesh Bhai and Amit Bhai, for this wonderful, wonderful session. And let's all of us please carry it to the long.
One more point that we have a long association with Amit Bhai long back, because we as a CVOCA we always fund the needy students, and the Pinnacle classes we had already discount facility which at least in my presidential year was there, because thereafter they have moved to from the classes. Till 2017 we always had this, we cherish this memory also with the Pinnacle classes.
We assemble back at 2:45.
A very good afternoon to everyone present here. After the scrumptious lunch that we had, we now move on to the interesting, thought-provoking and forward-looking conversation on inorganic growth. As firms look beyond organic means to expand, opportunities in mergers, acquisitions, strategic partnerships and consolidations open up new horizons. This session brings together fraternity leaders who have navigated this path and will who have navigated this path and will share their insights, experiences, the do's and the don'ts of inorganic growth. A perfect blend of strategy and execution awaits us. I may now request our panelists for today, CA Sharik Contractor, CA Nandita Parekh, CA Ashutosh Thakur, along with moderator and our past president CA Manoj Shah, to please come on the dais. I may now member CA Ronak Gada to introduce the esteemed panelist and moderator for the session.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, hope you had a good lunch. So, it gives me an immense great pride and privilege to introduce to our first panelist, a stalwart of the profession and one of the most respected and thought leaders in the field of strategy and business restructuring, Mr. C.A. Sharik Contractor. Sharik ji is a third generation chartered accountant, currently the principal and founder of C&K and Associates LLP, a legacy firm which roots dating back to 1936 and a presence that spans across India and UAE. An academic achiever, he cleared both the intermediate and final exams with the distinction and featured in All India merit list on both the occasions. He also holds the honors degree in the law and commerce and also has trained in system analysis and data processing from NIIT. With over 4 decades of experience, his specialization includes mergers and acquisitions, business restructuring, foreign collaboration, cross-border taxation. His clientele includes top-tier public and private companies, foreign corporations, banking institutions, airlines, and even government and semi-government bodies. Sharik sir has also played several leadership roles on national and international forums. He served as the president of Bombay Chartered Accountants Society and was the chairman of INA Group, an international network of accounting firms, where he now chairs the nomination committee. He has also been an independent directorships on various company boards, including BNP Paribas Trustee India Private Limited. Beyond the professional realms, his contributions span education, philanthropy, and sports, include trusteeships of the Education Institute Trust and roles in prestigious institutions like Bombay Gymkhana and Wellington Club. As a speaker, writer, teacher, and mentor, Sharik sir has left a deep impact on the profession, and today we have honored him to bring his immense knowledge and insights to our panel on a subject as important as inorganic growth. May I request now CA, our past president, CA Nilesh Dedia, and CA CA Arvind Nagada to kindly come forward and felicitate Sharik sir with a token of appreciation. Now let me introduce the second speaker, today second panelist, CA Nandita Parekh. It's truly an introduce our powerhouse. She is a powerhouse of intellect, experience, and inspiration. Nandita ji has blazed a remarkable trail to the profession, a rank holder at every stage of her academic journey. She stood second in the intermediate exam and was a gold medalist in final, and also holds a distinction honor in the first woman ever to top CA final examination. Her excellence also extended to the university education, second rank in BCom, first in MCom before she pursued her MBA in USA. Following which she gained invaluable international experience at Coopers and Lybrand, Chicago between 1986 to 1988. Professionally, Nandita ji has been a partner at C&K and Associates LLP and previously led audit and consulting practice at AJ Shah and Company. She specialized in the internal audit, risk advisory services, and has been the forefront of the advocating corporate governance and internal controls over the financial reporting. She has her authorship of ICFR handbook published by BCS stands a valuable contribution to the profession. Beyond the technical excellence, Nandita is an impassioned educator and mentor, a regular faculty at professional seminars, corporate training programs, and MBA institutions. She has mentored countless article assistants and young professionals, and championed work-life balance and women empowerment within the profession. Her efforts in helping women chartered accountants re-enter and grow their careers have been deeply impactful. Nandita ji has served the Bombay Chartered Accountants Society with distinction as its honorary treasurer. She currently co-chairs of Internal Audit Committee and is a member of HRD Committee at BCAS. Her passion for practice management has made her a familiar face at session designed to empowerment and enable firms to scale and consolidate. She has been an integral part of the celebrated Power Summit series, paving the way for the future of the profession. With a rare blend of technical brilliance, international exposure and empathy and leadership, we are privileged to have Nandita ji on this panel, sharing her insights on inorganic growth. May I now request CA Amit Chheda, Managing Committee Member, and CA Jasmine Savla to come forward and felicitate Nandita ma'am as a token of appreciation. Now, our third esteemed panelist in today's discussion on inorganic growth is a name synonymous with a deep-rooted expertise and leadership, Mr. Ashutosh Thakkar. With an illustrious career spanning over 28 years, Ashutosh is the founder of Nama and Company, a firm that has meticulously stepped into India's leading professional services firms. Under his leadership, Nama has become a sustainable profitability, uncompromising quality standards, and a culture centered around long-term trust-based and client relationship. What sets Ashutosh ji apart is not as just technical acumen in business and tax advisory, but his strong emphasis on building a secure and growth-oriented environment for his teams. He believes that the sustainable organization growth starts from within, and that philosophy reflects across all the facets of his work. Before establishing Nama, Ashutosh ji enriched his experience in the firm like Lodha and Company, Ejesha and Company, Haribhakti and Company, and BDO International, gaining valuable insights into the global best practices and evolving the landscape of the profession. A thoughtful leader in his true sense, Ashutosh ji is a frequent speaker at various reputed forums such as ICI, ASSOCHAM and IMC, where he generously shares his perspective on evolving business trends, tax policies and growth strategies. Whether it's nurturing his teams, guiding clients through complex challenges, or contributing through thought leadership, Ashutosh brings clarity, commitment and strategic vision to everything he does. May I now request our past president C.S. Sunil Dedia and our new member C.A. Ankur Gada to kindly come forward and felicitate Ashutosh ji as a with a token of appreciation. Now let me introduce our today's moderator, C.A. Manoj Shah. It gives a immense a chartered accountant since 1987. Manoj sir is a founder partner of Shah and Modi Chartered Accountants and firm built on pillars of integrity, expertise and enduring client relationship. His core areas of specializations are FEMA, international taxation and transfer pricing. Our domains where he is just not a regular practitioner but a prolific contributor and teacher. Over the years, Manoj sir has built a formidable reputation for his in-depth understanding, practical insights and ability to simplify the most complex regulatory landscape. His leadership journey includes serving as a past president for the both Chambers of Tax Consultant and our CVOCA associations, where he played a pivotal role in fostering the professional development and thought leadership. Currently, he is a part of editorial board of the Chamber Journal, helping the shape and intellect content for the thousands of professionals. His pen as powerful as his presence, with a regular contribution at WIC Letters, FEMA and Update column and the ICI Journal, as well as the string of the respected publications to his credit. This includes International Taxation, a compendium, referencer on FEMA published by ICI, Tax Withholding from Payments to Non-Resident as a co-author, and FEMA Compounding Orders, a comprehensive analysis as a co-technical reviewer. He has been a speaker, a go-to speaker on FEMA and non-resident taxation, delivering sessions at prestigious forums across India, always leaving the audiences richer in knowledge and clarity. With his deep domain expertise and gracious presence, Manoj sir brings a perfect blend of structure and spontaneity to any discussion. We are indeed fortunate to have him moderating this distinguished panel on inorganic growth today. Now may I request our past president C. Amit Chheda and our new member C. A. Pritin Shah to kindly come forward and felicitate Manoj Shah with a token of appreciation. Now may I request C.A. Manoj Shah.
Good afternoon everyone.
Good afternoon.
I think this is the best way to have a post-lunch session. I think one organization should think that, let's have a panel discussion. solo speaker, so to say, would find it difficult to keep the audience awake, especially after having Amras and Shira. But nonetheless, I think we all are geared up. The morning sessions have really fueled us, our imagination and enticed that interest. How should one progress in the terms of growth or expanding horizon? And the informal questions also, give an hint of that. So without taking much of time, let's have the esteemed panelists and let's try to have full benefit of the Q&A. And I would request other panelists, if I'm asking to Sharik Bhai, if at all you want to compliment or add something or even contradict, I think it will be helpful for others. I'm saying so particularly because in the prior session, that meeting we had, they said we both are from CNK and how we will. So Sharik Bhai was mentioning that there should be somebody who should have a different view also. But let me tell something when it comes to mergers and acquisitions, CNK is a name which stands out. Absolutely, you would find that this is the first, maybe kind of first mover, initiative taken, and it has lasted and it has created a niche for itself. Probably in the top firms and having spread its wings in Dubai and other things, and it's a name in itself now. So with this background, we are fortunate enough to have such panelists, and Ashutosh Bhai also. When we'll have interaction with him, we'll throw some interesting insights. So with this, Sharik Bhai, first question to we have been hearing today the first session. Anil Bhandari said, you should, being a chartered accountant, we should be asking why. So if you are looking at merger or getting acquired or whatever, why should it happen? What are the thoughts? And is it only the complementary skill sets? In the sense that when I say that, I say, for example, my firm doesn't practice GST. And if I'm aligning with a firm which is exclusively into GST, is it a good merger? Or there are any other pointers which you will find from experience and as a guidance? What are these criteria?
Thank you, Manoj. First of all, a pleasure being here, and I'm very, very happy that there are so many people interested in knowing about mergers and inorganic growth. I would be even happier if more of them implemented that particular thing, because everybody talks about it, nobody wants to take that final leap or decision. So that's one point that we should keep it in mind while we are discussing the entire thing. Also, thank you for a very kind introduction, though I must say I get a little disappointed because when my introduction is given, I'm very happy that people say that you qualified and you were a rank holder in both the thing, and then it comes to Nandita and she's a gold medalist. The whole thing falls flat. So I think I must also mention that. Okay, coming to your question, what kind of merger and why the mergers or why the acquisitions? I don't think anybody ever would tell you that one way is good or another way is not good. It really depends on what you want in your life. I think we all as human beings ask often existential questions about ourselves. What's the meaning of life? What am I wanting to achieve in life? But very seldom do we ask the same questions about our professional practice. What is it that we want to achieve in our professional practice? Is it that I am being born in a CA family and therefore I would do it? Is it because my parents told me to qualify as a CA and so on? So I think at times we have to ask those questions. Do I want to grow? Do I want to grow in which manner? And so on and so forth. To me, in the beginning when I started my career, we were doing very well. My firm was started by my grandfather. My father took over. We were doing well. I think our trajectory and Nandita's trajectory in terms of Ajesha were more or less similar. So her firm also was started by her grandfather. At times academically we were very much inclined. I used to participate in all kinds of academic discussions and all that. And then get clients who are small-time traders or relatively small companies, private limited companies. You did not really have multinationals or listed companies or a large corporation as your client, and you felt bad about it. That why is it not happening? I have the capabilities. I have acquired all the knowledge. When we go to study circle meetings, I am able to hold my own. Why can I not acquire it? And I remember this incident which I think perhaps was a pivotal incident. That you go to a particular a meeting, a client came to us, we were very excited because it was an international client and all that, and we were very happy that perhaps we'll get this particular file. And I think the meeting went off very well. He asked questions, he was satisfied, and then he said, so who are your partners? my father, me and my brother. And it was, you could see the body language change there. And the person said, okay, you're very good and all that. Can you handle my personal files and all that? I was not willing to give up. I think it was a time when I felt you have to professionalize. You have to have larger practices. You have to have domain. You cannot grow if you just want to remain yourself or a family. So I think that was a pivot. Then you come to a stage as to how do you expand. At that time we were doing everything. I think in 20 years back, 25 years back, everybody did everything. We did tax, we did audit, we did everything. I think things have changed. If you have remained small, you still continue to do everything, but then I believe you don't do justice to anything, or you don't really develop the expertise. So my answer is, when you merge, I first look at people with whom I can relate. I enjoy working with them. I like to interact with them. And I think me, Gautam and Himanshu at that time came together because we were together in BCA. We used to ask each other questions. Any difficult problem that came, we would discuss. I would go to him, they would come to us, me. There would never be a question of fees. There was never any discussion of how the fees are going to be shared. It was an intellectually stimulating question. We would sit together to try and solve it. Everything else would happen later. If at all the fees were discussed, or even if it was shared, it was like if it was my client, I would take 100% help from them and not give them anything. They would have their client, we would just, and then we thought about the merge. So answer is that whether it is complementary or something new, I think once you grow, you want to actually take in people who are from a different field, because you want to grow. One feeds into the other. There is cross-selling. There is, and larger clients now want to come to a place where there is only one stop kind of thing. So I don't think there is a reason to believe that you should only take complementary or you are competing with yourself. I think the more important thing is that when you merge, the question you should ask yourself is, what is the structure you are creating? I believe a lot of mergers have failed because they've created a structure where I want to hold on to my client and you want to hold on to your client, and therefore what you call the concept of eat what you kill. We did not follow that model. I have had many discussions with a lot of people who feel that no, that is the right model, because otherwise growth does not happen. There is no motivation for the person to bring in work. So again, there is no right or wrong, but the model we followed was that we did not want to follow the model of eat what you kill. We wanted to have a more collaborative approach towards it. Our profit sharing and revenue sharing was also on a different parameter. But we brought in people whom we trusted, with whom we liked to work, and whether it was in the same field or the different field did not really matter.
Very good answer. Very good answer. I think the ability to cater to a larger clientele, or expand your canvas of services, and that's where, and probably this a point every professional reaches in life where he is dissatisfied with what he's doing or is not being able to do. What Sharik Bhai mentioned was really thing to ponder upon, because you have the capacity and capability to deliver in terms of skills and knowledge, but you are not able to execute that because you are not getting that work. It requires certain skill. I think that's the point which one should keep it in mind. Sudhir Bhai, you want to add something?
What Sir has rightly said is the concept of eat what you kill is one part of thinking, and another part is waterfall. That as a pool concept, how can a pool come together and people think a common pool where things come together and there is a proper sharing ratio. Maybe there is a seniority who allocates that is to be accepted by all the partners. It's very essential for anybody to come together. If still after coming together you say this is what I contributed, the concept of I still remains. The organic, inorganic growth thinking is never there. So I concept goes away when we say that okay, we want to come together. So we always remains, and in we one should be ready to say that okay, you take the call, I am there. That is where everybody gets a chance to participate. I think so. That's what is thing which firms should look at. And when somebody is thinking of such kind of thing, an early stage idea of this is the roadmap should be thought about, should be put as a pillar as a going forward.
Yeah, so my 2 bits is like this, that when we sit with ourselves, we think of a merger as an arranged marriage. So we ask the questions which the parents will ask. How much he is earning? Does he have a proper house? Where will you be staying? What will you be doing? I think we have to look at a merger like a love marriage. What will we be able to create together? Is this person going to bring me joy all the time? Will I be happy to introduce this person as my partner? And I think these are the questions which get missed out, because we get too focused on my earning, his earning, separate bank account, separate client, separate this thing. So I think when we look at a merger as first a strong desire to come together, then everything else falls in place. Unfortunately, in lot of discussions, because we also, a lot of firms come to us, and I think the desire to grow is there, but the desire to let go, what you need to let go, if you want to create a professional firm with partners specializing in different things, the desire to let go is not there. So I think whenever now you're thinking of a merger, think of a love marriage. Don't think like an arranged marriage. That's the one thing.
I think this will get mesmerized and remembered forever. The next question to Nandita Ben. This is challenges in adopting to the new setup. I mean, as you mentioned, it's a love marriage. You would have given a lot of thoughts and then you agree to collaborate. But still, what are the challenges in terms of not just the main partner, but other team members? Are there any HR issues in the large organization later on? And if those are the challenges, which I'm sure would be, how do you address them?
So I will tell you something, and in this forum I would be very happy to share. So we always think that when we merge, the problems are going to be the larger problems, as to if a big client comes, who will service the client, or when the next revision to the partnership deed is happening, how will the profit share be done. But actually the challenges are very different. I will tell you something, finalizing a holiday list, because we have a traditional holiday list, the other firm has a traditional holiday list, and when there is serious discussion, no, this holiday has to be given. If 50% of my staff is Jain, you cannot not give Mahavir Jayanti as or a Paryushan as a holiday. But these are some of the things which come up. I think as a merging partner, one of the message which Sharik, Himanshu and Gautam told me, which I still remember, that in your own firm, you are used to deciding and getting your way 100% of the time. In a merger, there are very often the consensus view differs from your view. But once the view is taken, carrying that view forward as if it was a unified view is very important. So this is something, it is like elections, that till you elect a party, have your views. But once you elect a party, allow that party to do what can be done rather than creating opposition all the time. The second issue that also comes in the merger is, for those of you, there's a very old movie which I always remember. The movie is called Yours, Mine and Ours. So there is this movie where there is a widower who has 10 children and there is another single lady who has got 8 children, and they decide to come together. So it is yours, mine and ours. So there are 18 children and 2 parents trying to make a family. I think how soon the mine and yours becomes ours is very important. So have you seated the staff? Have you structured the teams? If you're going to have, this is the CNK team, this is the Ajesha team, then the merger will never happen. So bringing common premises, creating opportunities for people across the hierarchy to interact and form teams with each other, these are the things that really help. But I think if you are wedded to the larger picture, the smaller issues don't remain. Lot of times your staff will come and make comparison. Earlier this used to happen. We have to have the courage to say that look at now what we are creating together. So I think that is important. How much we give into this was our way, this is their way, how do we move? I think as leadership, we have to make sure that we don't encourage those discussions at all.
Fantastic.
So just to add, I would like to ask frankly Nandita, when we merged, was it an arranged marriage or a love marriage?
part of the association. You know, if you have observed each other working, without even the idea of a merger, you understand each other much better. Like how we say that if you really want a long-term relationship with someone, you need to be able to see the person when the person doesn't know that he or she is being observed. And luckily for us, we had lot of time and lot of occasion where we met on the BCA platform, where we interacted, where we attended RRCs. So I think that gives a very strong feeling to us whether we will be able to work together, we will enjoy sharing a cup of tea together, even with a person who doesn't take tea. So
that's a grievance. But I just wanted to, couple of things supplement. I think I completely agree. We all focus on the larger problems, you know, big clients, how will we handle. It is the smaller ones which actually create sometimes heartburns and problems. Absolutely right, a pune issue. Sometimes everybody else integrates because you paid so much attention on how CA's salary will be structured, how it will be synchronized and all that, and when the punes come in, and there are the problem of it. We actually had that problem when we merged, that the punes had individual loyalties. And they would not give up that loyalty, and it became a problem because if I call up my pune, he would attend to me first and not attend to Gautam that way. So it became an issue. So that is an issue, and he mentioned about holidays, and it's actually happened. We used to have all 3 Eids as a holiday. And when we merged, obviously that's a decision to be taken. And my father was like, but how can you keep the office open on Eid? And I had to sort of sit with him and said that can we have one Eid as a holiday? There is nobody telling you, you have to come on. But we can't have 3, because we didn't want to have privilege leave and this leave and all that kind of thing. So actually that was a discussion. I remember Himanshu told me, I will sit with your father and finalize the list. And Himanshu and my father would sit together and they would finalize the list of holidays.
Wow. Next to Ashutosh Bhai. Ashutosh ji, at what stage of professional career, you know, should one consider inorganic growth? I mean, some core pointers which a firm should bear in mind.
So, yesterday when I got a call from Manoj Bhai and Nihar that can you come on a panel? So I said already 2 stalwart torchbearers from the profession are there who have done this, and what else I can add, because there would be a lot of entrepreneurs who would have been walking this journey already. But given a chance, I thought let me share my mindset, because working with Haribhakti for 12 years and running across in the market, getting business against the big 4 large firms, then working as a national head for BDO, that also trying to establish a practice from zero, scratch, and then coming out into the field, and after spending 13 years, so basically I'm in my teen. Right now I'm in my 13 as a firm with my 100 people and 4 partners. That when should I think in inorganic growth? So then I put down my experience that okay, when will I think of this? So first lesson what we got when we 3 partners met, Mr. V.B. Haribhakti, who came to our office and sat for 1.5 hours with us. He said, Ashutosh, patience and tolerance is the first trait which you partners should develop. If within your partnership you are able to develop patience and tolerance with each other partner, because everybody has his uniqueness to bring on the table. You may not be same. So this is the first counter which we always put in place, that okay, if I have to think of larger game, I will have to be patience and tolerance, not the other guy. This is the first counter which I will put in. The second is the maturity of the leadership, maturity of the partners. Because in our 13 years, we always see a 2-3 years chartered accountant working with us, very happy to go to a big 4 at a larger pay. We have trained him 3 years, we have taught him everything. He has become the contributor now and suddenly going away, and not one. After COVID, we had our whole team gone, but a few going to industry, few going to big 4, and my partner, one of my partner had to redraw his whole plan. Now when all 3 partners we run through this kind of scenario together, that is the rough patch. You are making up your team again from scratch, even if you have created something. Now whether you as a single owner or a partner, have you gone through a rough patch together? Because when you think of inorganic and go and sit with somebody, rough patches are going to come there also. Whether your maturity has grown to handle a rough patch, if yes, you handled it, probably you should think of an inorganic, yes, I am ready to go there. Third is what I have learned from Nandita Web, in between we had an interaction, that when you are growing a firm, your processes, the back-end process is strong, modules have to be created very strong. You can't expect to go in some other firm and then you will adopt, learn over there. You will never be able to adopt. So basic key foundations are like, say, I hired a graduate in 13-14, a smart graduate, need of a job, ready to work hard. Taking up one by one job, I said, अच्छा accounting भी कर लेती है, TDS भी कर लेती है, salary भी कर लेती है. We start giving him so much of work. In 3-4 years, our team has grown from 13, 15, 35, 55, doing everything, and suddenly you feel the person is becoming non-performer because you are overloading on that person which is beyond her capacity. He joined when we were 15 and not 55. So we never created a second line. So we learned it very hard way that every module should have a backup to backup. If you have got one accountant, we should have two accountants. If you have got one HR, we should have two HR. When you grow to a size, you can't ignore a backend. You have to invest in that backend. You should have, once you have a proper backup, when you look at larger firm or coming together, you will require strong processes behind. But if you have not implemented yourself strong processes, going and expecting somebody else to do it, you will never expect it. So this is something which we learned it very well, that you should have this contour in your mind, within yourself, to go to a larger platform. Scalable offering. When you are thinking of going and sitting with somebody, whether your own offering is scalable or not. Whether you can scale it on a larger scale, whether it is within the city, within the town, within national level or international level, whatever you are doing, it should be scalable. Your mindset should be scalable. If your offering is scalable, then you go and sit with anybody. You will be able to look at a larger common purpose. Last is the clarity, that you are sitting together with what objective? What is the synergy? Are you looking at practice area as a synergy, location as a synergy, or a leadership coming together which will help you to complement and work together for a longer way? There could be a lot of other core parameters also, but I thought these are the 4 parameters which one should be within ready, work on it for a few years, set up yourself, and you are eligible to go and sit with anyone. This is what my perspective.
Add something?
I just would say, in my view, if you are thinking of scaling up or you're thinking of an inorganic growth, frankly, the time is now. Do it. Depends on your size, depends on your scale, because it opens out immense possibilities of your ability. Your circle of influence increases immediately because you are now dealing with people who have different circles of influence and so on. I'll just give one example. After we merged, we got a very interesting assignment to be done in Abu Dhabi. Himanshu and me went there for that particular assignment, and it was an assignment where, pretty complex assignment, there was to be entities which were to be merged together. We had to actually go and research the business model, understand how that particular business was being done. We were going across pretending to be somebody else to understand from the client what is to be happening and all that. And once we said yes to the assignment, Himanshu and me looked at each other and said, have you ever done this thing before? And we both looked at each other and said, no, we have not done it. And then we said, if I was alone, I would have refused this assignment. But because we are together, Gautam is there, we are all there together, we have the courage to say, between us, we will find a way. I think it opens out opportunities that you don't even recognize. What Nandita mentioned at the earlier stage was, we all sometimes focus on the negatives. Frankly, the positives far outweigh the negatives. The problem is, we as accountants are used to looking at the downside first. Pehle risk dekh lo. We miss out the opportunities that are available and then therefore lose out. So I think sometimes you have to take that leap of faith.
Fantastic, really is. Anyone on the floor also, if you want to have some additional questions, raise the question. That's fine. Next to Nandita Ben. I mean, in terms of cost structure, when the entities get merged, do you always see that cost going up and, it affects the bottom line, or it is the initial phase on how do you reach, probably in terms of take home what you were drawing earlier? This could be some of the questions probably, because you immediately lease rentals go up or other costs, your HR, admin, all other costs will go up. What is the thought on that?
So, if you're talking of cost structure at multiple levels, so first is what happens is when two firms merge, there will have to be synchronization of salary standards. Now, you are not going to be able to tell the set which was drawing a higher salary that you take a cut because we are merging. So, you will have to raise the bar to meet the higher standard. So, that is going to be one cost implication for sure. The second is premises, that if you were working, if 4 of you want to come together and each of you is working from a 500 square feet office and you continue to do that, then merger will not take effect. So one of the first things to plan is how are we going to integrate premises and keep space for 20% growth. Because if you say that, okay, we are all together, we are coming together, we are 52 people and we have got 52 table spaces, desks, whatever, when is the 53rd or 54th going to be accommodated? So keeping the space, so yes, you will absorb a higher rent. Third is that being able to work from more efficient, better, smarter office is a huge upside for the staff. So, when you're creating a merger, you want the staff to be excited, the entire team to be excited. So, if you have, when you are budgeting for the merger, do keep this in mind that if I am able to work from premises which are smarter, more efficient, better laid out, etc., it will make a difference. So, all this will add to the cost, but look at where the savings will come from. Where we were sending people for outside training, now we have got inside specialists who do the entire training inside. We have the scale and the size to do that. We have the ability to source external HR person for whom the size and scale is interesting enough to spend time on standardizing the policies, procedures, etc. We also have the ability now to look at professional accountants, professional CFOs for the firm so that the partners have space and time for that. So yes, some cost escalation will be there, and to my mind, within a period of 2 years, you will overcome the cost and move to a much better profitability. But yes, 2-year threshold you will have to keep in mind because these are integration costs. Also, leadership attention is on integration, so somewhere the growth of business, the inflow of new clients will take a little time. It is not going to happen from day one. But it's a question, it's a lag of 2 years, not more.
Nandita, we'd agreed not to disagree, but 1 year. Not even 2 years. I don't think it's a... And actually you have another problem. When you come from your small premises, and I think in her case, in my case, these were all premises which were like tenanted premises where the rent was very little and all that. And therefore you did not factor it in as your cost and you charge your clients accordingly. When this merger happens, you have to pay the rent. It is part of the cost structure, and believe me, very often this complaint that everybody makes that clients don't pay, clients are this, is a lot of problem is us. We don't have the guts to tell the client, this is my fee. Nobody leaves because you increase your fee. When the merger happened, I have had number of occasions when we have gone to the client and said, we are increasing the fees. They have come to us and said, "Nahi, sahab, you continue, we'll think about it next time." And we've had to go and tell them, I'm not negotiating. I'm happy to leave the file. This is my fee. I cannot take it. They actually come around. In fact, at times it has become the reverse. I've had occasions where there was a listed company, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit digressing on this. Listed company which we wanted the listed company work. But we were only getting family, those investment companies and stuff like that. That audits were done at that time for some 5,000 rupees a audit and stuff like that. And the reason why we were not leaving it is, but we have an entry in the group, finally we will get this work. When we merged, I think around that time, I went and told them that, sorry, my fees will be 25,000 letters. And they said, but this is only 5 entries, 7 entries. I said, this is my base. They agreed. Next year they came to me and said that there is another CA who is willing to do it for 5,000. Can you resign? I said, happily I will resign because I don't want to do it. I resign. 6 months later, the client comes to me and says, will you do the listed company audit for me? He had branded me in his mind as a firm which is a small firm which will only be capable of doing investment company audits. I have now by my action changed my branding in his mind. I think that's also an important factor.
Very, very important. Very important. These are the kind of interaction which really gives an impetus and confidence. Dhairya, I mean that is the way you would always. And now the gestation has come from 2 years to 1 year. So. Okay. Yeah, Ashutosh ji, this is institutionalizing and firm versus person driven. So how does one achieve this with bigger format? Today morning we had a session where with some they were saying, making a statement that probably individual identity should not be given importance. Something like SKP, where next time who is a promoter, nobody knows that. So with that kind of, when you are institutionalizing, and that is the goal, when you merge, I think individual identity may not be so relevant, probably the firm name continues. But coupled with that, how do you look at exit policy? How should one consider that? What should be the policy for goodwill? And is goodwill an impediment? I mean, is it a hindrance for the long tenure of the firm? I mean, what are your thoughts?
So over here, personality driven, it depends on a person that what he is out to create. Whether he is creating a proprietary concern or an organization. So if you look at cricket, Tendulkar is the best batsman, but when given a captaincy, we never saw him doing a good captaincy. And Rahul Dravid came out to be a very good captain. So you have to define by yourself that whether you want to create an institution, everything is in our 6 inch. We live in our mind. We don't live outside, it's in our mind. We live in 6 inch every day. What is it that we store in our, are we ready to give space to somebody? Institution is all about giving space to somebody. So the whole idea of coming out of large firm and start to create your own was that, okay, let's also, India is growing. Next 20-30 years, India is going to grow. You are bullish on India. Let's create. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या होगा? नहीं होगा. So one day I was coming back from a client place meeting, and in Santa Cruz I got in there first class, and I had next to me the stalwart in indirect tax practice sitting with me. So I said, sir, आपका learning क्या है इतने सालों का, 40 years of your practice? So he asked me reverse, पहले आपका learning बताओ. I said, I am very happy because I am out of a large format, now I have flexibility, I can move around faster, do a lot of things. I said, sir, what is it? He said, Ashutosh, एक ही है, number 2 wants to become number 1. In one line he gave me his 40 years of experience that if you are trying to how to build something, your number 2 wants to become your number 1. So how will you give him space? So next day I came and I told my partners Monil and Dharmesh, I am 0, you add me wherever you want to put myself. You are number 1. If you start with yourself as 0, you can sit with anybody and your value is going to always increase. Second is talent retention. I think so that's the biggest challenge with every firm has. It's only the culture of the organization which retains the talent. If you are building a culture which gives growth, which gives him security, which gives him experience, everybody does not run for money. There is a satisfactory quotient which everybody runs for him to build for himself. So I feel talent retention is something we will find our own space. Every firm will find his own space and retain a talent to grow. So we do it that way. Okay, define entry, performance and exit I have learned from Nandita Ben only. So she will add up something if she wants. But I learned it that way, that Ashutosh, when you want to have a partner's inside, define all the 3 parameters. Have the entry defined, have the performance defined, and the exit also defined. Don't wait for somebody to come at the end of the time saying, I want to go, what will you do now? Because we are building an institution. There should be a clarity in terms of the very first beginning that tomorrow if we don't walk together after 5 years, 7 years, this is what the way we part. It's okay to define that way. And probably in our deed also, with Nandita Ben's guidance, we brought that. That okay, let's have a clarity, it's okay. The train is going to go a long way. Somebody will get from Bandra and somebody will get down at Tatev. But train is going to always go. Institutions live beyond individuals. That's what mindset we have built in. Okay, goodwill is a very critical question. In 2000, when I was made partner in Haribhakti and Company, and I had a similar question to senior VP Haribhakti, and the goodwill belonged to the family, so full respect to that. 50 years of firm. So he gave me a straight answer that I can't give goodwill to everybody, because if you start fighting, going in and out, I can't every time value my firm and divide goodwill and all that. This is a complication for a family to do it. 2012, when I was moving out, I had read a very big article of Jay Sagar. Jay Sagar also became a lawyer, joined his mama. After 8 years, he said, what is my goodwill? Mama said, what is your goodwill? This is my firm. So he created a Jay Sagar. And in 2012, he said that I am a 0.26% partner. I have diluted myself. And with that dream, you come out and start your firm. The goodwill is nothing, it's a talent. Talent comes at a value. You have to give value to the talent. If you have an intention to sell, then you have to think of goodwill. But if you don't intend to sell, you want to create something, my point of view is goodwill is, we don't see goodwill. We see the talent and the value what everybody creates for the client together. That's what.
Sharik bhai, exit, how do the younger partners entering, they would feel if the seniors continue? I mean,
very, very strong views on this. And I think Nandita has been part of this journey. One thing we are very clear about, that the goodwill does not belong to the individual partners, not even the founding partners. That's the first one of the decisions that we made. A lot of people question that decision, that when you step down, you will get nothing. My answer to that is simply this. Because we created that structure, we attracted the best possible talent. That best possible talent worked for me. During my life, it worked for me. From their working, I earned. Because whatever they were earning was coming in a pool. Probably I was a partner, senior partner, my share was higher than anybody else. I tell everybody I have earned my goodwill in advance. Therefore, I should not be asking for goodwill at the point in time when we retire, and nor should any other partner in the firm when they leave. We have a very clear mechanism that when you retire, you get what is in your capital account, current account and all that, and 1 year's earning. That is, whatever you have earned, average of last 2 years earning, will be paid to you in lieu of maybe outstanding fees and everything, but this is your retirement thing. No question of determining the goodwill of the firm. Very clear. Second, I think again we brought it up when I am 67 right now. When we were, I think I was in my 40s or 50s probably, we put in a concept in the firm that at the age of 65 you will step down as a principal partner. You take away that decision making from the partner himself, because as a founding partner when you reach 65 you will say I'm absolutely fine, can we not push it to 70? And then can we not push it to 75? You take that right away. So clearly we have provided in our deed that at 65 I have stepped down as a principal partner. Gautam this year stepped down as a principal partner. In fact, I went for lunch with somebody else and need to be very clear about it, because very often people say you've stepped down, and this person called me up, took me out for lunch and said that I was told that you have retired. I said, I have not retired. I have stepped down as a principal partner. I am as much a partner. I am as active as I always was. And I have no intention right now of stepping down. I have only stepped down as a principal partner, which means the decision-making authority has been given to somebody else. As Ashutosh said, somebody else who was maybe 2 or 3 has now become 1. You have given that because you said this is the stage, and I think I learned that from my father, who at the age of 70 when we merged gave away control.
Very Very, very superb guidance. And Nandita, yeah.
Yes. There are a few reasons why there is a lot of confusion about goodwill. One is people mix up the tenancy value with the practice value. Because a lot of people are operating from old tenancies, paying very, very low rent, and the tenancy is in name of a particular firm or a particular individual. So I think first is premises and practice need to be clearly segregated. You can claim your tenancy value, which is a separate mathematics, and practice value, which will grow at a different rate. The second thing that happens is we all talk of succession planning, but it doesn't happen. When the daughter-in-law comes, no mother-in-law willingly hands over the key. वो सिर्फ Bollywood में होता है. So what is really important is when I know that tomorrow I would want to continue as a partner, but I will not be in leadership role, I have a huge incentive to influence and create a commonality of ideology with my younger partners who will take over. Because once I know that that is how the firm operates, I have a direct interest in making sure that the firm that I have created or the firm where I have given so much time, the leadership value should also be nurtured. And very often the leadership role is not clearly segregated from the execution role. I may be heading the tax practice, but I may not be part of the leadership team, because leadership team's role is to strategically give a direction to the firm, to manage intra-partner relations, to look at growth opportunities, to look at exiting certain territories or practice areas, adding new practice areas, which is very different from heading a particular assignment or leading large assignment or being the signing partner for the largest clients. And I think when this is understood, it becomes very clear that when goodwill belongs to the firm, everybody is fully invested and everybody knows that if I walk out, I am not going to be able to say, "Mera goodwill mere ko de do." So I think it served for us. It was a huge reason why the firm bonded and stayed together and continues to stay together. And one of the reasons I've accepted to come for this is just the joy of sitting with Sharik again and with Ashutosh, because I have worked with both these guys at different points of time. So that joy continues.
Yeah. Next, now extending this part, and today morning we had a session, Sharik, by which talked about corporatizing this consultancy. I mean, as you all know, the attestation function is becoming day by day challenging. While we may continue to be serving the nation by performing diligently the attestation function, but still, can one think as a practice after and with merged entity, corporatizing it, and the core team remaining promoters or owner, appointing CEO, they continue to be owners. So something, what happens to the other business houses or something like that. Is that concept evolving or something can be thought of where you distinguish between attestation function and consultancy or different areas? Yeah.
No, it's an interesting idea and worth experimenting. But before I go that, I think just the earlier thing, one of the issues is that, goods are sold, services are experienced. So very often it is very difficult to, your question was how do you segregate from individual institution or the individual. We are in the business of giving service, so it is always going to be a personal thing. Within that limitation, how much can you institute?
Okay.
One should keep it in mind that we are not selling goods beyond a point you cannot standardize it, but there is a level, you have to work towards it to do it. Now coming to the other question, it's an interesting question. I don't know how you can implement it. One point is that the way we are functioning right now, at least if you are a traditional CA practice, you necessarily have to be a chartered accountant to be a partner. If you have a CEO or somebody who is much more qualified in managing the firm and not the technical partner as you are asking, he cannot be a partner. So that's a problem that we have. Having said that, there are lots of ways of doing it. You could have an internal partner who now gives up execution and only manages that if he has the skill sets of managing the particular firm. So one can look at that, and I think people have experimented with that. I have an interesting firm with whom I have interacted very well in Netherlands, and it's an interesting case study for me. In Netherlands, this is a very powerful network over Netherlands entirely. There are about 20-30 firms in Netherlands which are part of this network, and they compete with the Big Four, and they probably feel that they are even better than the Big Four in that particular region. The entire network is managed by a person who is not a chartered accountant, and he is the most powerful person. Now, what does he do? He does not do any execution, but he manages the research, the trainings, and what they call products. So everything that is developed as a product for internal use. Forget external, internal use. He does all that. He decides, when they became part of our international association, he decides what is the fee that is going to be paid by the individual firm to him, and him in turn to Innovate. So all that, and he runs it. He is the CEO. So it's a very interesting concept which actually is very well working out there. And though I did hear from a lot of chartered accountants of those network firms who would come to me and tell me that we are very unhappy with, he doesn't understand how the practice is running and he is running the show. So these are pros and cons for it. In the Indian context, I think the only way, unless you corporatize and are outside the reach of the institute, you will have to necessarily have a practicing person as a CEO. And secondly, I don't know how many of the chartered accountants will say, I am going to continue working and I have a 3% stake but will not take in the management position. And then you have to have a much more formal and clearer structure, I think.
No, this question just cropped up and from a session which we had. Probably there's an entity called InCorp which has been recently, and Sangrajka. So he has been acquired, and the kind of valuation, the kind of offering which they are making is really making a professional to think on those lines. Because if you are looking at the retirement, whatever we said, goodwill is not there, and I rightly agree. With the interest of firm, I think the goodwill approach is what you said. It makes sense. But here is a case where PE firms are acquiring at a multiple of 6 to 8 of EBITDA. And if you have got a scale something like, a ballpark figure of 10 crore or 15 crore of EBITDA, I mean, before your remuneration and all that, it gives a good opportunity for somebody to really capitalize his experience, his skills, and then remain active in the firm, and then continue for, like Nandita mentioned, talent, upliftment and all those kind of things. So this is somewhere, probably as a merged entity, it may offer better ideas, in terms of going up.
No, I think it can work. You have to decide. I mean, then it becomes a completely corporatized thing where somebody acquires a company and tells the owner, the future owner, that you have to continue working with me for 3 years before you step down to have the continue. And we paid your price for it.
But I think one pitfall which I now realize, because the PE firms, when they come, they have a different approach and game, the listing or selling it to some other strategic buyers, and therefore the service oriented approach, what you are saying, person driven, services experience, probably that may get diluted, because then you are more commercial driven than the delivery of service, which is the core, especially from the Bombay Chartered Accountant Society or the culture of Bombay, which as a chartered accountant we are used to that kind of service approach, probably which may not continue.
But I think at beyond a point, this is all talk, because we can keep saying that we are not in the business of providing services, we are in the profession of providing services. But I think at some point in time we must now recognize that we must provide quality service, but we have to also be compensated, because you are running an organization where you are managing not, as you grow, you are not managing your own aspiration, you are managing the aspiration of 800 people under you. So you have to pay them back. I think that's an important factor that you have to bear it in mind. And I don't see any lacuna in that thinking.
Yeah. Nandita, how do you, since you were then got merged into CNK, how does a firm become eligible? This is internally, this is common thought process of what are the indicators, to find that one should, or what is the criteria for a firm, maybe as an organization, as an individual partner? Means even if I have a desire, somebody should be interested in me. It's like that, you know.
So I think if your desire is strong enough, you have to also seek. What also happens is, and because we also do power summits and BCA, so a lot of people come, like go for get very excited. But when they go back, you know, those 100 emails waiting to be answered and the 40 client meetings which are to be scheduled just overwhelms and takes over. So what happens is, if you're looking at for inorganic growth, you have to create time. You have to, like at a forum like this, you have to find time to connect with a few people with whom you will meet beyond the tea time here. You have to, like the other day, I've just completed a 3-day AI course of the Institute. Fantastic course. But you know, the hat that I was wearing in Asia or CNK comes back. And I'm saying that there is this chartered accountant, very talented, who wants to set up his practice. He's just moving back from his family industry to setting up practice. But where is he operating from? 60 kilometers from Aurangabad. So now this guy is at Chalna, very polished, speaks well, very keen to do. Now, you know, my immediately antennas go, then is there a possibility of liaising? Because here I am in Bombay, really striving for good talent. Because of thanks to COVID, we are able to do so much of our work remotely. Is there a possibility of connecting? So I think when we are looking at merger, first is I have to be ready. I have to clean up my processes. I have to let go. If I want that when I'm offering myself for merging, I am attractive enough in terms of having let go on a lot of clutter, have standardized processes, have people trained in technology, soft skills, etc., and have a few clients who are credible enough so that the other firm is interested. So if you look at clients, why do we merge clients? We merge for talent, we merge for the synergy that we bring together, and we merge for add-on advantages in terms of stronger processes, stronger technology, stronger HR, empanelment, because that also, as you become larger, your empanelment strength also becomes very different, and ability to service. So, you know, if I continue to run my practice the way I am without paying attention, it is like wanting to say that one day somebody will come, knock at my door and say, are you really interested in merging? No, I have to be out there. You attend seminars not just for the knowledge, but for spotting the right kind of talent. You go for certain RRCs, because when you meet people at RRCs, you have a different traction. You have a lot more time. When you are at this kind of seminars, you ask questions which are well thought out so that somebody will notice you. So being noticed that this is a person, there is a spark, and I think that it would make a good collaboration. You have to make that effort. It doesn't happen otherwise. So
very, very well articulated. Yeah, sorry.
I would put this slide in my presentation, which I think you had only given it to me, to say that think of merging or collaboration not when you feel the heat, but when you see the light. So what happens is, all of us don't think of merging because we time hai, dekhenge, right now my practice is going on well, and then you become desperate towards the end when time comes for retirement, or when you are now not able to carry on and you have not created a succession plan for yourself. I've had a number of cases where people have come to me, approached me and said, we would like to merge. And you look at the person and say, he's already 65 or 68, and you tell that person that, yeah, we are happy to merge, but I'm not interested in you as a partner, I'm interested in your junior as a partner. Because what am I going to do now? Or you tell the person, are you getting X amount of work? Then maybe you can continue as a partner, but you have to have an exit strategy. That at 70 you will have to step down. Are you willing to do that? It becomes very difficult. We've actually also had occasions when we have cherry picked. Somebody comes and says, I now cannot continue my practice. Will you merge? Will you allow? I said, no. Okay, but can you take away? So I would look at his client list and say, I am interested in these 8 clients of yours, not the others. It happens. So you have to, and it is an unfortunate, people who are currently doing extremely well, I have had this conversation with a number of people, I have talked with them, you are doing great. What is your succession plan? And the answer is they do not have a succession plan. They are hoping that things will resolve itself, or we will continue as long as we want, and therefore thereafter the practice will be closed down. There are a number of people who are functioning on that premises.
I think that's a pity scenario. I agree with Sharik bhai. I mean, so the next question to Ashutosh bhai. I mean, while we were discussing, interesting conversation took place, and I am putting it as a question. You mentioned about individual level integration. While we are looking at merger or inorganic growth, it mentioned there is even organic growth, and which one should look at. Developing talent and then making them partners. So life cycle of a chartered accountant spread over some 10-12 years, and you were interesting conversation. Please.
So, ma'am, you said you have worked with me. Actually, I have worked with you. So the DNA vaccine of an entrepreneurship has come from, like in COVID, to avoid COVID, we take a vaccine. So when I was a fresh chartered accountant, I had asked her a question. Ma'am, if I want to start my own practice, what should I have? And she very frankly, transparently shared with me, you should have 2C out of 3C. I said, what are these 3Cs? So she said, competency, context, and capital. So I started thinking 97 qualified CA asking question in 2003 saal mein, I don't have anything. I come from a small town in Uttar Gujarat. I don't have anything. So let me work somewhere and develop this. So I have worked with her, and she has. So last 13 years, what realization came to us as a firm is, we start building people, we start taking charters, we have our yearly appraisal, one-to-one process. But when we want to institutionalize, do we communicate to our team members that, what are the paths they are walking on? And this is what we realized, that a fresh chartered accountant's career span for first 12 years, his first 3 years is an execution management. He learns the execution. After getting that certification, qualification, even if he has done a good articleship from a good firm, he has to practically jump into the ocean and start swimming. So it is the first execution championship which he takes up. If he is able to pass through this execution, he comes to the next level of team management. Next 3 years, he should be focusing on team management, whether junior, peer, senior, he is able to work as a team member. After another 3 years, he is able to whether manage clients, because once he is executing, once he is managing team, whether he is able to work with his client in a collaborative way. After 9 years, he comes in the last phase of 3 years, is whether he takes up the practice management as a area of his working. So what we realized is, because we used to have a chartered accountant, there is a use case which I have written, that a good chartered accountant, good qualified person, smart person, hard worker starts working with us. Every year in appraisal, our partner tells him, you should do this, you should do this. He goes back. Next year also we communicate to him that. But after 7-8 years, we realize that he has not picked up. He is good. He has taken up a lot of clients, but he is individually good. He is there as an asset to the firm individually, but not as a team. We said, okay, we were communicating to him, but he has not implemented. Now, whether he is at fault or we are at fault as an organization. We said we are at fault, he is not at a fault. Because we did not clearly chart out the path every year, saying that now you are execution champion, now demonstrate you are a team champion, now demonstrate you are a client champion, now demonstrate you will come into practice management, because practice management not only involves all these three, but other than all these three, 90% other things is practice management. So this is one key area which I feel that whenever we are looking at an inorganic growth, all of us as a team, whether all of us as an organization, we have walked this path. We have a lot of good team members with us to go and sit on a larger common platform to deliver. This is the, what a personal experience which everybody has. I think so in some or other way everybody does this. But we have to, as a senior, go down level, work with the team to show him how. We delegate it and leave it. And after 1 year in appraisal we ask, or if it's a quarterly appraisal we ask after a quarter, what did you do? We never went down with him and tell him how. Because how is very critical. And who has walked the how? Only the person who is doing practice management. If he would have done how, he would have been practicing himself, right? He should have not been with you. So that's where we should not shy away as a leader sometime to go down into each function. We go down into admin account function. At the lower strata, we give very clarity. See, this is the outcome, this is the SOP. If you have a problem, come back to me. This is my expectation. We don't clear out our expectations. We assume that chartered है ना उसको तो मालूम ही होगा. It's not the case. If he come and ask us, market में मिलता है मेरे को ये चाहिए, and we say you should know what it is. It's not that. It's a gap. So if you want to really become large, we need to work very hard way into all these areas and build up our team at each stage. And only the practice leader, senior person can do this, and he has to show the how. This is what.
You want to add something? Sharik bhai, on multi-locational firm or international alliances, and what is the experience, or is it really worth entering into, or this is just big names and it doesn't really get into either work or even at EBITDA level?
I think it's a chart and a course you have to take. I have seen a lot of firms who have remained local and have done very well. We have decided to grow geographically, and we have expanded. We've also expanded, as you know, in Dubai and now in UAE, and we have ambitions of growing in other areas also. So it's a conscious decision. There are pros and cons to it. We internally often discuss that, you want to grow in another area. If the same amount of energy and focus was put in Bombay, maybe you would have earned more here. But it's a decision that has to be taken. There are lots of cross-selling advantages. There are lots of branding advantages and so on and so forth. As far as international associations or alliances are concerned, to my mind, it is extremely essential. Because it gives you a much broader perspective. Anyone who's functioning in his own domain and believes this is the right way of doing it and keeps continuing. We meet the same people. I love meeting people who are outside the CA profession. Because we meet the same group of people who reinforce the same thought process in us, because everyone thinks the same. You have to meet people who challenge your thinking, who think differently. And even if you meet chartered accountants, if you meet them from different locations, different countries, you will realize a lot of things are common, but a lot of way of doing things are different. And it opens up your ideas and your ways of thinking. So it is important. You should at this stage join an international association. No. The answer is, I think you will have to just wait till the institute clears its guidelines. Right now the position is very ambiguous, and therefore unfortunately, I would say that it is essential that the institute comes out with this, because it is important. If the objective is that you want one of the Indian firms to come up as one of the big four or challenge the big four, then you cannot tell them that you cannot be part of an international association. And I think that is a dichotomy which has to be bridged.
Okay. When you go geographically expand, especially you mentioned about Dubai, what is the gestation? I mean, do you look at some retainership, or because you mentioned about, the equal amount, if you would have invested in Mumbai, it would have been better. So I think some thought must...
You continue to lose money till Nandita comes back shouting that are we going to continue or are we going to close down now? I think the partners will question you. When you start this kind of enterprise, you go wrong. When you venture out, as chartered accountants firm, I remember when we went out to Dubai and decided to put in money. My father looked at me and said, as a professional, you never put in money. You start earning from day one. You cannot say, I'm going to put in money and I will give a business plan and I will say after 2 years I will make this profit and stuff like that. It doesn't work that way. But we took a decision that, alright, we are this size of firm, and that's another advantage of a merger, because you say we are this size of the firm. How much can I lose? Alright, I can lose X amount of money. I am going to invest that. If it doesn't work out, that money is gone. It is still going to be lost from my profit. Or this is what I can, it is not going to cripple me. That clarity has to be there. When we joined We expected the partner we had promised that he would be able to bring business and all that, and I think it is after 3 or 4 years, 5 years, it did not work out. We changed our partner, and then we did well. Now, I think a lot of earning is happening out there. A lot of time and attention is being spent. I'm traveling to Dubai next week, and we keep doing that. Right now, constant call, what salary increase and all that. But the point I'm making is, these are one of the senior CAs whom I met at the airport. He said, you know, we are very happy. CNK has been one of the firms who has taken an entrepreneurial decision of starting something. CA firms don't take entrepreneurial risks. It's a risk that we have taken very clearly, and we allocate a clear budget in our mind that this is what we are prepared to lose.
I think that's what I think, that mindset, I think it's what is coming out. It is required really. The Nandita Ben, I mean, you all have come together because of BCA, which allowed you to, you know, Sharik Bhai initially mentioned about how, as a friend, you know, you were able to...
Same school.
Oh, is it? Oh. So, what is the relevance of, you know, this, because as a sole proprietor or small firms, you know, we don't get that organizational level exposure. And I believe that BCAs, WRC or chambers and all that, that provide also us the organization level work exposure. You know, how do you work with team as a team member, a larger team? And does it help to collaborate on the mergers? And, you know, is it something which is an easy way to start merging because you know the person and like-mindedness, if you can, you know, it comes out easily?
I think when you have worked happily in informal settings, the chances that you will work well in formal setting is much higher. So the probability of success is definitely very good. So that definitely helps. But even if you have done it once, twice, you also develop an eye for understanding what will work and not, and what will keep the other party engaged enough to see the initial turbulence period as only temporary. So I think what happened with CNK that they three came together, they went through their own turbulence, then one or two of the sole proprietors folded into them, then our firm. So having done it often enough, set up office at Baroda, then set up office. So when you go and meet the firms, you also develop a very strong intuitive understanding of what will work and not. Having said that, has every decision gone right? No. There are sometimes you go and you set up a branch, it doesn't work out, so you move out. But when you are large enough, this moving in and moving out doesn't rattle you. The other thing that happens is when we look at India as a growth, I think the second tier cities will show a very different growth trajectory than the metros, particularly in terms of cost of living, affordability and the quality of life, all that. So when you get a large assignment, it is very difficult to mobilize people from the same city. But when you have presence at other, the number of times we've been able to pull in people from others, that also becomes very important. And the third thing is that when we are a large organization and if 60-70% of our revenues and profitability is coming from your head office or your Bombay, it is very important to identify the USP of each unit and allow them to grow into excellence in specific fields, because that becomes like your center of excellence you will promote. So that also is a way we can start looking, that if you have a forensic practice which is, you know, but I think that also definitely helps, so that each location brings people, brings a revenue stream, brings an ability to leverage and creates domain expertise in an area which is relevant to the firm.
Excellent.
And you know what happened was that, right, when we started Dubai, we got somebody from a Baroda firm to head that. It was a person, otherwise it may have been difficult to get somebody from Dubai. The other thing, interesting thing that we had with Nandita, you know this also, know when she was, we were talking about the merger part of it. One of my other partner who had earlier merged came and said that, you know, there are lots of things that have not been fulfilled that I was doing. And I'm going to, she jokingly told me that I should tell Nandita that, you know, everything is not going to happen the way it is planned. And I actually looked at her and said, I think it's a damn good idea. You must go and tell her what has worked and what has not worked for you. Because whatever it is you are saying this has not worked, you are still with me. So overall it has worked.
Yes.
If you are able to come and tell me this, please actually go, it's a fantastic idea.
Ashutosh, we have been hearing since morning, we are not entrepreneur, we are as a practicing chartered accountant, we are not investor. As Sharik also mentioned, from day one you should start earning. Your thoughts on capital investment in the firm?
Yeah, so just if I can add what Sir has already mentioned, that we should be looking this as a business. And recently I read that concept of FOMM. We are all groomed from our school days. Report card में कितना red line आया, fear of making mistake. If you will see in our office also, our junior will not open up very fast. He has in his mind fear of making mistake. He has never been told, don't worry, mistake is part of our career, it is my responsibility, not your responsibility. So FOMM will not allow us to jump. We will have to discard this concept of FOMM. Second, what ma'am, she only guided us. In our partners, we throw this idea that let's look at some tier 2 city to push our assignment clients over there. And so we had one meeting in Indore and one meeting in Ahmedabad. One partner I said you focus at Indore, one partner I said you focus at Ahmedabad. So my Ahmedabad flight has not taken up, that partner is under FOMM. And one partner has already transferred his 4 large assignment to Indore. Executed from Indore, very well trained in last 2 years. So what, it's a use case. What she was telling, I am just sharing the use case, that what she is talking, if you go out without a fear and implement it, you will see the result. Okay, coming back to business. So we all invest in stock market, right? Somebody tells us, ये share अच्छा है, इसमें tip डाल दो. So one day I was sitting and realizing that मेरी company का P&L तो मेरे सामने है. Why I am investing in RIL? I should invest in my P&L. Because I see my EBITDA every day, every month, every year. It is in my control. Why should I give my money to somebody else to control? And that also the whims and fancies of 100 crore people. So the question of investment started coming in our mind, that first of all, the balance sheet of our firm, we may be driving P&L account, but balance sheet should have that net worth. The capital should be there to take a call, risk. As a partner, you should be ready to take a decision. Decision may fail, so it's okay. One partner may say, I want to do this IT project. Go ahead and do it. If it does not turn out to be it, it's okay. We all are part of it. We can't fight that you took a call and we have made a loss. So that investment money should be there in the firm. Sir, in 2017, we went to Oman, Dubai to evaluate whether we should start indirect tax practice over there, because India GST was coming and they were also trying to bring it. So we met a lot of firms, calculated our figure, did some firms calculation. We said 3 crore, we will burn 3 crore, then we will be able to establish in Dubai. So we took a call that let's not burn 3 crore, let's penetrate in India. So from 2017, our business plan which we had talked about by 5 years or by 9 years what we will be, we were able to put that invest money in India and able to grow in GST.
So now you have enough to burn 3 crores.
So now that has opened up our thought process that now we can burn.
No, but I always say this, that if you have not failed a couple of times, then you have not taken enough initiatives. You have to fail. You cannot succeed in everything. And if you have succeeded in everything, then you have been very cautious. Thoda to failure hona chahiye na, otherwise how are you going to grow? You are not testing yourselves.
So investment will come in infrastructure, investment will come in people training, investment will come in technology. Thanks to BCS Power Summit, I had asked Vaibhav Mane a question that what are the mistakes you did? And he frankly answered that we adopted technology very late. And I went back and told my partner that we should not do this mistake. Till date 10 years ho gaya, let's start looking at what is automation. We used to take 1.5 hours to do data's review, and now we're doing data's review in 3 minutes. We started adopting accounting से लेके everything in which we should be on technology, banking से sync कर लो सबके साथ. We should tell our people, if you are wasting time, tell us where we can automate. And they are mandated to tell us where they have to automate. So you have to invest in all these things. You have to learn at your own cost, not at a client cost. So in one of my meeting in a very large insurance company during my Haribhakti days, I went to meet a CFO. And he said, I will not give you work to Indian firm. I said, why? You don't have domain knowledge, you don't have team size, and you don't have turnaround time. I said, thank you for teaching me. I went back and started investing in all these three. I will pick up one industry and I will work in 10 top clients in that industry. So that my domain knowledge is as good as any big four. I will invest in people. 5 आदमी चाहिए, दूसरे 5 bench में बैठा. If he suddenly calls me on Friday, I need tomorrow something to do. We have people, we can do it. And turnaround time. By top-down approach, my partner will get involved first to understand your transaction. The architect will come first, not at the last stage. And we invested for 13 years into that. And this is where your investment money goes. Because you are not seeing return immediately. You can't say, मेरे को कल पैसा चाहिए. Tomorrow I will be in profit. Span of period. One of my client was acquired by a Japanese client. And with the CFO I was sitting. What's the change? You were an Indian promoter owner, now Japanese owner. But Ashutosh, we have a business plan of 30 years. For next 10 years I am in loss. So Japan, nobody is asking me whether we are doing profit and loss. Oh, I came back and talked with my partner. Boss, अपन profit क्या करते हैं? पहले तो investment करके, we should have a vision for 20 years or 10 years. So when we changed our office, first our office change was 15 people. So we took 35 seater. And me and my partner, we were coming outside our cabin, sitting, पूरा office खाली है. Because 15 people are at client place. बोला क्या करेगा? बिल AC इतना 10 टन डाल दिया. बोला भरेगा, don't worry. Immediately in 6 months we become 35 people. We made 67 seater, same position. Within 6 months we become 100 people. So whenever you buy office, think of 20 years. कि भाई मेरे को after 5 years what will be my team size, not today's team size. Our thinking are always we think today what I want. We should not think what I want today. You should think what is my 10-year plan, what is my 5-year plan. Nothing wrong in putting that money. You may not get immediate return, but after 5 years, 10 years, the property price would be different and you may not be able to afford that price also. Or you may not think of that. So when you look at business or our practice, you should think 10 years, 20 years, not 2 years, 3 years, what I am getting. This is what, and this requires investment. This requires capital. And you should come together, bring together, and put the capital. Without capital, nothing grows. Your mindset, you will not run without capital. And every 3 years, the capital requirement changes. I am in my 13 years. Every 3 years, I have seen my capital portion is changing. The capital stays inside, it does not come out. And we are not inclined to take it out also. Let it be there, let that capital be after us. If you have that mindset, then inorganic growth, everything will match because you will become equal. You will think that, I also have an investment in my network. And we together, our investment, what Sharik Bhai said, that when you come together, the potentials are bigger, Your investment capacity becomes bigger. This is what has been at our firm level experience.
I think Sharik Bhai, during the informal discussion, there was a discussion about marketing, or somebody within the firm or before merger, somebody says, I'll get the business, and there is a team to execute. And how much share of profit that person who is bringing the work vis-a-vis the one executes? Some sort of discussion on some sort of thought process on that.
Frankly, in the firm, we have never had that kind of a discussion. And the reason has been very clear, because the philosophy with which we grew, all three of us at the initial stage, and everybody who came in, including Nandita, and were passionately conscious about the kind of service and the quality of work and all that kind of thing. So nobody was really saying interested that I will only go and do marketing. Everybody wanted to be in experience. I think it's a reverse, that you need to identify people who are good at marketing or good at presenting themselves and projecting the caliber of the firm. There are some partners who are not good at it. Some partners are good at execution. I think you need to identify where. Sometimes I believe there is a wrong notion that all partners must necessarily go and get work out. There are skill sets that are required. Some partners are good at execution, let them execute. Free up those partners who are good at going out and marketing or getting work. Marketing is not a good word to be used, but those who can go out and project your firm. And how do you project your firm? There are many ways. You can be writing in articles, you can be speaking. Those are the traditional methods. But even being a member of a club, a member of a social organization like a Rotary, doing charity work and meeting people. I think all these are avenues. In fact, I say this jokingly but very seriously, to say you are in a social gathering, you are in a party. You have a drink in your hand and you're chatting and somebody comes up with a question. You probably have exactly 2 minutes to give an answer which will impress that person. Do you have that in you? Or you will go on a rambling thing or something? You have to say something which captivates others, they will listen to you and they will carry it back with you. You have that 2 minutes at that occasion on a social thing where 3 people, 5 people, maybe some top people are standing out there, a question comes up, it could be on anything, it could be on geopolitics. And remember, we have been always talked about when we go for a board meeting or we go for a company where they have a lunch or a get-together, it is not your domain expertise that really matters. It's your ability to carry on a conversation at an equal level with people who are extremely good. They are CEOs, CFOs, they are exposed. Sometimes we come across as people who only know our technical stuff and nothing beyond. I think those are the kind of things. So you identify those people within your group, and it could be not a partner also who has that ability.
I think so far as the Q&A are concerned, so far as this panel discussion, we are done with the questions, but the floor is open and we have some time. So if there are any questions, please feel free enough to raise the question.
2 questions. Sharik sir said that you have to have an age of stepping down as the leadership, from the leadership role. So do you also have a plan to retirement? I'm just thinking from our firm's background. Should we have a exact retirement that, okay, from this particular date, I'm out from the firm? That is first question. The second is, being a mid-sized firm, then you try to retain a talent. You have articles which are sometimes really a partner material. But he is always looking for a bigger firms, bigger banks to join after clearing a CA. So how do you retain a good person who can be nurtured as a partner at a second level so that you can get exit at least?
Answer it 2 ways. As far as we are concerned, what we have put in place for ourselves is, at the age of 65 you step down as a principal partner. At the age of 70 you give away all your variable share. So then you become a fixed share partner. The second important thing is that what are you doing when you're stepping down as a principal partner? You are now telling somebody else, though you are the founding partner, now you are giving that right and the authority to another group of partners to decide what is going to be your salary or what is going to be your emoluments. It's a huge decision. As founding partners, we have tried to say that we do have the right to work in the firm as long as we want to work. So we have a space to work. But what to pay me will be dependent on others now, after my age of 70. Even afterwards, now that I have stepped down as a principal partner, even next year, what is my remuneration or what is my share of profit will be determined by a collective group. So that's the first thing, how you give away regularly the right. The second question you asked was so how do you nurture the new thing? Now again, I'll give you an anecdotal answer. before we actually merged also, I had with me someone who was extremely talented. And we were working very well. He had, I don't know whether he would become a partner at that stage or no. And the clients would come to me and say that, we need your inputs. And I felt this guy had developed to a level where he could directly deal with the client, and I wanted him to front-end it. The client would always come and say, but how important है तुम्हारे भी, I need your inputs also. I remember at that time actually telling the client that this person is good enough to handle it. If there is a problem at the back end, he does come and discuss with me. So you do get my benefits, but if you come to me and you want me to front end it, then the fee is 3 times. No, but why do you charge so much? It is, but this is very important, you have to get involved. I said, if it's important, then you pay the fee. I'm telling you the same service you are going to get with the other person. It actually worked like a charm. Because frankly, I did not do it because it was a great vision that I had, because I that time was growing at a level where I did not have the capacity to manage it. I had to free myself up. And it worked beautifully because the client started dealing with him, the person felt empowered, felt this, that he was front-ending it, he was growing. There was no reason for the person to leave. Sometimes the reason people leave is because we delegate work, we do not delegate authority and direct access. People hang on to you because when they see their personal growth also happening, they hang on. I think it's important to give that space and authority to people to grow on their own and become client-facing. Frankly, this is a difficult one. My father would tell me very often when I would do this at that time, and Lalita knows that I and my father had a fantastic rapport and relationship. He brought in the phone and a lot of things that we learned, and he would tell me that Sharik, if you are doing this, ato client lene jato res. And my answer to him was that then I should have confidence in me that I will get 10 more clients. But if I hang on that worry that I cannot part the entire authority to him, ye jato res. You have to decide.
I think that importance, the important thing which Sharik bhai brought out is, delegation. What generally we understand is delegation of work. I think in conversation also, Sharik bhai rightly mentioned that delegation would also mean the authority given to the junior, in terms of independently meeting the client and giving him the confidence that even if you commit an error, we are there to back you up. So in the initial phases that will happen. So delegation is not merely that, you give that assignment or that work, but empower him to act like a front desk person and handle that assignment independently and gain that confidence of entrepreneur. I think that is what is also required in delegation. Yeah. Harsh.
First of all, a very insightful session. You all three have a success story, be it CNK, Ejisha or NMH. My question is, in your professional experience, have you seen any merger fail in CA industry, and what was the reason of those failures?
Several.
I think I feel that if there is too much of emphasis on short-term profits and short-term earnings, that is where the failure has been. If there is too much attachment to your old clients so that you are not ready to let go for the larger growth, that has been the other reason. So these are a couple of reasons I know definitely where firms merged and in less than 1.5 years they've kind of separated out. I think, and a lot of times the ego as to who gets which cabin, who gets which leadership role, again goes back to that who brings in the fees and who gets what percentage. Now what happens if you're trying to build an institution, you have to understand the institution is bringing the work, the conversation is being held by different people. Once you have this understanding, like if there is empanelment work, and the envelope or the call comes and one partner picks up, has that person really brought in the work? Also what happens is when you are too focused on these percentages, who brings in the work, etc., you don't allow the best partner to go out, so you actually as a firm lose out. Because you have said that if there is a small chance that I will get this large assignment, I don't want to send Sharik even though he may be significantly more charming than me in those engagements, only in those engagements. But, so these are the things that when you understand that the name of the firm, the size of the firm, the quality of the firm is bringing in the work, there is no question of looking at who brought in what. That becomes...
Nandita, I was charming enough to charm you. So, but the other thing is that, you know, these things will happen. You will have to look at firms that are they have not succeeded. In fact, at BCA, once they wanted to have a seminar and a program on saying how mergers succeed, how mergers fail. They actually had identified a firm where the merger had not failed. Obviously, I don't want to give a name and all that, but it was not possible because nobody wants to come and say why it did not work out, kind of a thing. But there are many reasons that don't, and particularly this is the reason that you hang on to your ego, you don't want to let go, you want to hang on to your clients, you don't consider what he mentioned right at the beginning, I remains and we does not take place. So these are, you have to let go. I think when you let go, you gain much more. And I was jokingly telling Nandita that when I stepped down as a principal partner, there was one condition that I'm stepping down as a principal partner, no goodwill, no nothing, but I'm not giving up my parking spot to you.
So just to add, we don't have a firm merger experience, but I do have a 2-3 individual taking on board as a partner and then they leaving, that as an experience. So one, I concur with what ma'am says, that when you think of investment, the bottleneck is always at the top, that the entrepreneur should not always harp on profit. Sometimes that becomes a hurdle. Sometimes you have to communicate in a different language to teach somebody. So if you keep on harping more on profit, the person below does not feel that space that, you know, I was brought in to grow, but this guy is always asking on profit. So this is one my learning, personal learning. Second, sometimes the aspiration of the person who comes in also, once he comes in, he realizes that this was not my goal. So you can't say that merger is failed or somebody has not only because of one side. It is on both sides also. Somebody coming in, say, realizing after 1.5 years that this is what I don't want in life. I don't want to run. Over here, these people are running to create an institution. I always wanted to create myself. So don't blame yourself that your merger has failed because of you. It could be the other way around, which may not come up openly. So you should always let it go. 99% thing is let this go and move ahead and do something else.
I think we had a really interesting session, and the thought which President Vinit, yeah, one question, yeah, please.
Hello. First of all, thank you for sharing your valuable insights. I love the panel discussion. So my query is, so supposingly if I am thinking to partner up with some friend or colleague, what is the ideal structure one should have in sharing ratio? Because I've seen some firms having any partner is referring any client, he would get 30%, and the partner who's actually executing, he would get 60% and 10% for the firm. So what is the best structure one firm should have?
So I will take that because I'm a neutral person, no longer in practice. So what happens is it depends on how you want to run the firm. The model I think that works is, yes, performance in terms of numbers matters, but there are a lot of other things matters. So whatever complicated formula that you have, it should not be to remunerate, but it is to understand relative performance. That who is carrying what load of execution, who is bringing it. Now, you know, if you get a new client, now first year if I am doing the statutory audit and the next 2 years the next person, I have carried the load. I have created the checklist, I have created the process, I have understood the industry. So there are different, even though the billing may be same or it may be higher for the next person. So who is taking the load? So you need to understand the performance parameters quantitatively, but that cannot be the only criteria. In fact, in a way of looking at it, that 50% may be on quantitative numbers which are identifiable, but at least 50% should be on a lot of other issues which are forward-looking, which are growth-looking, etc. And have I answered your question? So you know, the firms which say 30% goes to this, and then So then it becomes like share market. That every morning you open your computer and you say, what am I going to get this year? That cannot sustain. Anybody who's a day trader cannot grow a practice. You have to be an investor. I'm not looking at this for years and end. That is the only way you can grow.
My answer to your question would be that there is no formula. And remember one thing, when you are talking with somebody, it is also the relative strength and weakness of the other. It will become a negotiation to some extent, even with your best friend. Now, I can only give you an anecdotal thing of what did we do. When me, Gautam and Himanshu merged together, what is the decision that we took? We took very early a decision that come what may, we will be equal. And it sustained right till the point in time that when I stepped down as a principal partner. Till then, we never questioned that you are getting more work, I am getting less work, what is happening, I am executing so much, I am executing less. It was an understanding and it never even came up. It was not like it was a heartburn but it was not brought out. I think all three recognized it worked beautifully. Now it worked for us. It may not work for you. You may have to work out a different mechanism. But I am saying you have to be steady, clear, and then live with that mechanism and be happy by what you are getting. Because all of us realized we started earning much more than we could have earned individually. We could have made ourselves miserable by saying that, but I am working harder than him, therefore I am earning less. But overall I am better off. We actually discussed this, we were discussing how to share, and they would say, I would always go to the club to have my game of squash and stuff like that, and Gautam said, you will start playing golf and all that. So I asked that question, that if I start playing golf and I leave office at 5 o'clock every day, what will happen? He said, we have to trust each other to that extent, we will still be equal. I think that works. I'm not saying it will work for everybody, because you may actually have a partner who will go away at 5 to play golf. Then you will be in trouble.
Yeah, I wanted to understand that when two equal firms merge, is it advisable to have an external agency who would act like a collaborator to, kind of, when you said things like salaries need to be equalized, or the culture documents or things like that. So does it make sense to have somebody external come and take part in this important decision?
My thought on this is that either it can be a small team of people from both sides, both the firms, who would come together because they understand their own firms very well. For an outsider to understand it is difficult. But having said that, if you have, all of us have a few seniors in the profession, if we are really stuck at something, we do consult them. That how do we go about this? Does this make sense? This is the way we are thinking. Or our views are differing. So to have some mentors, some seniors who understand you, who will be able to guide you, may be a better way than getting somebody who's professional, because that person will not know the culture of either of the firms, may not even know the profession. So
when we merged, there were a couple of people whom we went to told us it's a stupid decision. You are doing well for yourself, this will never, it was an idea at that time, people were not doing any merger, we were perhaps one of the first ones. So there were a lot of people who encouraged us, but a lot of people said, this is stupid, it will never work. So I think finally, however much you discuss, eventually it is a leap of faith that you will have to take for yourself. I'm not saying a blind leap of faith, but you have to, I think I have told Nandita any number of times that we thought a lot about how to merge and all that, and what are the pros and cons, and what will, you cannot decide everything up front. There are many things that you will say, now we have comfortable with each other, we sort out the problems as they arise. The pleasure of having a Gautam Nair sitting in the cabin next to me overrides everything else.
one last thing I want to say, and not just because Preeti is here, one question I was hoping to ask, to be asked is, what role do women chartered accountants have in inorganic growth? I think that women provide. Because when you're looking at inorganic growth, if you look at your alumni, you look at those smart, bright women who would have made it to a partner but they took a career break. Or there are people who are working with you who want to work only 6 hours a day but they really want to do good quality work. So I think that is a pool which is undervalued and under-leveraged when you want to do inorganic growth. Because here is a pool of talented women who have been trained, who have understood your firm's culture, who are sitting there, who are not coming back to work because the work that is being offered to them is not matching their intellect or their skill level. So I think this is a pool, and so one question that I would ask if I'm merging is what is the role of women in leadership in that firm? Because when women are in leadership, mergers become easy. And I think Sharik would vouch for it, because a lot of times the way meetings are organized, the way offsites are organized, the way events, the way festivals are celebrated. And I am not saying that there are typical gender roles, but it brings in a different perspective to the organization. So if you're looking at starting a new area, say you want to do sustainability practice, or if you want to start a forensic practice, without looking far, look at somebody who's invested, who got the relevant certification and is ready to start small and grow with you. But this is one talent pool which I have always leveraged on, and strength of my training came from women who came and worked for 4 hours, but invariably sent me draft reports at 2 o'clock at night or 5 o'clock in the morning. So I think that is a strength. When you're looking at growing, don't look at firms. Look at individuals who have that talent and who are not even approached, because there is no competition there.
I think when we were talking about our merger, Nandita's major concern was, and it kept coming up again and again, it's despite my telling her it's not a problem, is how are the women partners in my firm going to be treated, because they may not be able to work till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, will they be discriminated or not discriminated? I said that's not a problem. But I don't think she was worried that it's one thing for a man to say it's not a problem, but whether it will actually, you'll walk the talk is another question that will happen. And I think we managed to do that very well. I think they managed to change the way we were functioning to a certain extent. We managed to change them a little bit to an extent, and I think it was a win-win for everybody concerned. And obviously for me, why would you not merge when you get so many beautiful ladies to come into your firm?
I think the interesting session is coming to an end. I think a lot of takeaway from this entire day, but this panel discussion was really icing on the cake. We'll see, if something sparks in each one of you, and the CVOC association does provide you good opportunity to, know each other well, and friendship continues, but it also takes the shape of, professional partnership. So with this thought, we also recognize the presence of Central Council member Preeti Savla, and just big round of applause. She has been instrumental in getting these faculties and the brains which are sitting with us to organize this summit and give it really wonderful outcome which we are all seeing. Thanks, Preeti. Yeah. And now I request Hetal to propose a very well deserved vote of thanks to the panelists.
Thank you, Manoj bhai. It is my privilege to extend a hearty vote of thanks for our esteemed panelist and our moderator for today's enriching discussion on inorganic growth. In our Hindu tradition, there is a concept called Triveni Sangam, which is a confluence of 3 rivers and believed to be a sacred place where one takes a dip to flush away one's sin. Today we've experienced this Triveni Sangam, where we've had our 3 most esteemed panelists who have flushed away our myths in terms of inorganic growth. Each of our panelists brought in a unique perspective from risk evaluation, integration, focusing on the positives then the negatives, consensus of everyone who's getting merged, challenges, legal, financial structuring, concept of institution, corporatization, merger of synergies. All of them were freely sharing their actual real-life instances, making this discussion not just informative, but also deeply relevant in today's fast evolving landscape, and obviously with a taste of humor, which didn't let us sleep after the lunch. The session was planned for almost 1.5 hours, but it's been 2 hours, and I think none of us woke up from our seat, and we were totally engrossed with the kind of discussions we've had. Also, a heartfelt thanks to our moderator Manoj Bhai, who has played a pivotal role in shaping the session's success. So you are not just the facilitator of discussion, but truly the voice of participants, bridging perspectives, directing the dialogue with clarity, and ensuring that each panelist's insight were brought to the forefront meaningfully. Let us carry these learnings into our professional practices and continue fostering growth both organically and inorganically. With these few words, I request everyone to carry out a huge round of applause for our panelists and the moderator today. I would also like to thank our Central Council member Preeti to have got these amazing panelists today with us to give us such beautiful insights. Thank you, Preeti. Just a few announcements. We have our lead sponsor. We have our lead sponsor, Everex Infotech. They have some tech offerings for all the professionals. So we'll be playing a short video for them.
Is doing things right. Effectiveness is doing the right things. C.V.O Plus helps you do both with confidence. For any organization today, managing documents efficiently isn't just an option, it's a necessity. Introducing C.V.O Plus, your smart, secure, and scalable document management solution. C.V.O Plus transforms how you store, access, and manage critical business documents. With a user-friendly interface and powerful features, it helps you stay organized and compliant. Still buried under piles of paper? C.V.O Plus offers full-scale digitization of documents. Simply scan and save your documents in a structured, searchable format. Your data is your asset. C.V.O Plus ensures enterprise-grade security with controlled user-based access, encrypted email communication, and robust backup and restore options so your documents are always safe and recoverable. Admins can set access levels and permissions with ease, ensuring the right people see the right documents at the right time. Need to find a file quickly? C.V.O Plus offers lightning-fast retrieval with document profiling, so you're never more than a few clicks away from what you need. Edit and manage MS Office files directly within the system. No need to switch between platforms. Here are the top advantages of using C.V.O Plus. Centralized repository, user-based access control, document digitization, remote access anytime, anywhere, quick retrieval and search, enhanced data security. If you're a growing startup or an established enterprise, C.V.O Plus adapts to your needs, empowering your team with the tools to work smarter, faster, and more securely. C.V.O Plus, simplify, secure, succeed. Book your free demo today.
For the next session, I would request people from the same firm to please be seated together, and we have planned some refreshments outside the hall. So request everyone to kindly take in and come in fast and occupy your seats.